Bada, 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 bada.
Yeah.
Oh, Indy's gone. Greetings, fellow Ampliphiles. Tiki here.
And BlueDragonFive.
And Jacob Wile.
And this month, we're
And,
taking the time.
and hopefully Sandy Claus,
Hopefully,
too.
hopefully.
He just left.
And this month, we're taking the time to celebrate one of the great filmmakers who, as great as he is, neglects to do audio commentaries on his work.
Steven Spielberg.
Yeah, so to pick up the slack, because we love the guy so much, we're talking over 5 films from the man who put the S in SKG in signs, the Animaniacs Paychecks. Director Steven Spielberg in Spielberg Month. Yeah!
Spielberg eats this stuff up.
Sandy,
What?
are you okay?
Did you guys just notice that I came back?
Yeah.
Yeah,
All
we
right.
noticed you dropped and came back. Yes, we did.
Oh, okay, all right. I came back and you guys were live, and I was like, oh my gosh, did they not see me?
You were live
Well-
we were live when you dropped out.
You literally dropped out as we were going on air.
Oh.
Sometimes
All right,
Sandy
well,
go in the water, sometimes you don't.
It
that
very
hap-
much bubbled up the intro, Sandy. You know what? I'm gonna start the intro over just for.
Yep.
Oh, you don't have to do that.
No, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it because I fumbled.
Really
over
botched up the
everything.
intro anyways. Remember, it's remember the actual term we're using.
I know. Okay. Greetings, fellow Amblin aficionados. Tiki here.
And BlueDragonFive.
Jacob Wile.
And Santa Claus.
And this month, we're taking the time to celebrate one of the great filmmakers who, as great as he is, neglects to do audio commentary on his work.
Steven
So to pick-
Spielberg.
Jacob,
Sorry.
Steven Spielberg is at the end.
Okay.
Okay, Steven Spielberg is at the end. Let me do this, okay?
Okay, sorry.
And this month, we're taking the time to celebrate one of the great filmmakers who, as great as he is, neglects to do audio commentary on his work. So, to pick up the slack, because we love the guy so much, and because we love the guy so much, we're taking over 5 films from the man who put the S in SKG and signs the anime. That's all, folks. Director Steven Spielberg.
And we
Yay.
all knew who that was.
In Spielberg Month.
Yay.
Wow. Okay. This is so fitting for how poorly this whole commentary process has gone in the past. Great start, guys. Great start.
Accelerating.
Okay, you know what other commentary? You guys know what other podcast is filled with like silly mishaps and bizarre misadventures?
What?
The Movie Machine Podcast! That's right, folks! Come on over to hotchocolatemedia.net for the Movie Machine Podcast! This week they've got Peter Dinklage as an exorcist performing an exorcism on a plane crash. It doesn't get much more epic than that. The Movie Machine Podcast on hotchocolatemedia.net. All right. So, guys, we're here to talk about Steven Spielberg Month. It's very exciting. This is the first time we've done a retrospective like this since Muppet Movie Month back in August and September of 2015 in preparation for the Muppets TV show, which, yeah.
Turned out well.
Yeah. But, alas, I'm still excited because I always like these retrospectives. I think they're a big part of the channel. So, quickly, before we get into the actual commentary, we're going to go round robin, giving our kind of childhood memories and perspectives on this movie. I'll turn it over to Sandy. What do you think?
Well, when I first got this movie on Netflix, and I went and I watched it. I was probably 9, maybe 8, and scared the crap out of me. I couldn't handle it at the time, and I was afraid to go in the water for, I don't know. I'm still pretty a little bit, not entirely scared, but a little bit scared to go in the water, especially the ocean. I can't stand the ocean. But, you know, pools and stuff, that's fine. But the ocean, pretty much. I'm scared of the ocean. I'll say that. I said it, okay? I'm scared of the ocean.
I can sympathize with you there. I'm not going to the ocean.
Or the Amazon.
Or the Amazon? Have you ever been to the Amazon?
No, but I'm not gonna get in
I've
it.
used Amazon.
I know. I love Amazon. It's very convenient.
Yeah,
I think we all know what I mean.
we have against Amazon.
All right. But Sandy, yeah, your memories in general.
Oh yeah. Well, when I first saw this movie, I wasn't as filmmaker-ish as I am now. But now that I'm looking back on it, I've seen this movie many times. I own it on VHS and I watch it occasionally. But now it's so like magnificent. To think that this was Spielberg's first movie is just absolutely mind-blowing. And then just to think of all the little mishaps and problems and things like that they had while filming is just spectacular. To think of how it turned out in the end, it's just amazing.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Jacob?
Well, I'm going to be a bit of a different case here. I've only seen this movie a total of 2 times currently. So, and both of them were many years ago before I got into attempting to be a filmmaker myself. But I haven't seen this movie in a while, but I do remember it quite well. I do remember, like, he used a lot of techniques that were inspired by previous filmmakers, and even pioneered a few of his own with this film as well. That would become the norm for future blockbusters. So, in many ways, this is an important film in cinema history. And when I was growing up, and when I watched it, when I watched it the first time, I didn't really appreciate all the subtle nuances behind the film. But watching it back again, and it's not outright terrifying, but it's subtly creepy. It just gets under your skin with the suspense and the terrifying, and the way the music works. John Williams was at a peak of his career before it even began. So, and I definitely have a deep respect for this movie and how it contributed to modern day cinema.
Okay.
Any person who doesn't have respect for this movie is an absolute tool.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Oh yeah.
I'll go ahead and go next, guys. Jacob, I actually have a very similar story to you. I remember first seeing this movie when I was a little kid and my parents renting it and stuff like that. And it kind of bored me the first time I saw it. I gotta say, it kind of, like, I hate to say it, but I didn't really get into the character stuff because I was so young. And it's funny because I kind of made it, it's like with Jurassic Park has a very similar thing where they don't really show the dinosaurs for a majority of the movie. They only show it for about 15 minutes worth of screen time, but the dinosaurs are spread out through Jurassic Park. Jaws, you have to wait and wait and wait to see the damn shark. Looking back on it now, it's one of the most effective uses of suspense. It's like it practically painted the rules on suspense. It kind of redefined the rules that Hitchcock wrote. This is like modern day Hitchcock in terms of like for the era it was in. It was kind of like the successor to Hitchcock in a lot of ways, and I think we can talk about that as we talk about the film. There's a lot of Hitchcock influences going on here. As I saw the film growing up, I saw it a grand total of 4 times. The more I saw it, the more I appreciated it. I remember the second time I saw it, this is kind of a funny story. The second time I saw it, I was watching it with my parents on TV, and it was a school night, and I had to go to bed before it was over. And I went to bed. It cut to commercial right as Hooper was getting in the cage about to go down. And so I remember for the longest time in my memory, I thought that Hooper was the one that died and not Quint. So rewatching the film in high school for film class, I was very surprised to see Quint get killed off the way he does and Hooper survive. So that's just kind of a funny memory I have with this thing. Overall, obviously, this movie, it's a towering achievement. I think there's a lot, I think I'm definitely an aficionado for Jurassic Park. I've seen Jurassic Park, like, upwards of probably 40, 50 times. And I feel like with this movie, I need to study it more and more because it really wrote the ground book for a lot of things going forward in modern cinema. All right, Dragon.
Okay, just skip quickly here. I do have a real personal connection with this movie. I mean, years ago when I was a kid, my grandfather specifically, he loved this film, and he still loves this. He still loves this film. He's a guy who'll rewatch movies and he'll get to the good parts. He'll skip around, watch the parts he loves, and he loves a lot of the comedy parts. But particularly with this film, I remember going to Florida, and going to Universal because making the rounds, you go to Disney World, you go to Disney, you go to MGM, which formerly was MGM, now it's Hollywood Studios, and also you go to Universal in both parks inside Universal. But my grandfather, unfortunately, he's terrified of flying. He doesn't like going there. He doesn't go there anymore. That's why the last trip was just kind of me and my father. The point is that years ago when I was a kid, he used to love Universal. He loved going there. One of his favorite parts was the Jaws scene because he loved the movie so much. And anyway, so initially as a kid, like many of us on that ride, you're right in the thick of the action on the boat if you're lucky, and it's terrifying as a kid. The pyrotechnics of the shark going at you. I mean, even though your tour guide's kind of shooting with a fake shotgun, it's still pretty terrifying. But point is, it was always like. Not knowing anything about the movie at the time, just you go to Martha's Vineyard and you're there and you're experiencing the ride. It's pretty terrifying. But anyway, so later that night, this memory will always be burned in my mind with kind of the feeling I have with this movie. Is that appropriately enough, in the condo we stayed at back in the day, we had this condo when we go to Florida on vacation. It was a regular thing back in the day. Before less trips nowadays. I was in my grandfather's side of it was like a lock off. My parents had my grandfather's side. We go to his side, and it's like the lights are out. He's watching a movie, and oddly enough, because it's on TV, he's watching Jaws. It's broadcast on TV, and I was just so transfixed by it. I basically saw in this that okay, it's a movie. It's actually a story. It's not just this terrifying event that you're part of. No, it's this really great narrative filled with these really beautiful shots. Because I was just watching it, he was kind of transfixed me, and it was like. Just the main shot will stick with me is again dark room, tile floor, like kind of leathery couch behind you, a little pleather couch, whatever. My grandfather behind me, we're watching the shot on the water box shot from underneath where you come to the water before the Jaws main title comes up. And the water is the blue water in the shot is that blue amongst darkness. Always kind of stick in my mind with this movie. Anyway, so years and years later, I find out about the background, the production stuff, and. What Spielberg went through and what kind of like a cross this was to bear for the guy, and it fascinated me too. It's like a film production, how much of a struggle it was for Spielberg as it was for the characters in the movie. The point is, this movie always sticks to me. It's a great production, always a positive memory. It always reminds me of my trips to Universal as a kid. It always brings back some warm fuzzy memories.
And if I can just butt in here for a second, that's back to the story thing you were talking about. I think that's another reason why this one just still holds up so well is because so many horror films these days, they just rush through the story. It's really, just poorly written, and they just get cut straight to the horror. And with this, it's the exact opposite. They take their time with the story and they flesh out the characters, and then the horror comes. And it adds, all the more suspense, as Tiki said.
Yeah, it was a good movie before it was kind of like your boo scare 'em movie.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So, Dragon, I know you have a couple behind-the-scenes things you want to get to. I want to point out one interesting thing that I learned watching the documentary, The Shark Still Works, which is the writer that was brought in, along with Peter Benchley, the writer of the novel.
The Shark is still working. Precisely.
Yeah, The Shark is still working, I'm sorry. Carl Gottlieb. He was actually tasked with writing the behind-the-scenes book, the official behind-the-scenes book for Jaws, back when Jaws was like a crazy merchandise boom, and it was, you saw the shark on T-shirts and everything like that. And this guy, he wrote in about a period of 3 months, he wrote a little book called The Jaws Log. And The Jaws Log was one of the best-selling books about filmmaking ever. It kind of dominated the nonfiction charts for a few summers in a row. Wow. And yeah, and it really went a long way towards, I really feel like the Jaws Log and kind of people kind of learning about the background of this movie and everything like that, it really was a predecessor to DVD bonus features in terms of people's fascination with behind-the-scenes content and wanting to know how a movie's made. And there's other examples I can point to at that. I always remember the From Star Wars to Jedi, which was a making-of feature that I believe they put on one of the VHS sets of
it was bundled with a VHS collection of Star Wars, and it was
I've seen it. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Like, there's other examples I can think of, but the Jaws log, all the way back in the day, predating even the release of Star Wars, I believe it was released in, it might have been, like, either Christmas of 75 or summer of 76. And the Jaws log was really, like, it was one of the first major pieces of just filmmaking, kind of like, you know, in a book form, and really kind of getting into the nitty-gritty of it. So I think Carl Gottlieb is a really fascinating person in all of this, just in kind of making Jaws the revered classic it is today for the filmmaking, you know, for the students of cinema that the four of us kind of boldly and probably, like, arrogantly claim to be. But you know what I mean? This movie is it's like a rite of passage for film fans, and I think, especially if you're interested in the art of filmmaking in itself, I think Carl Gottlieb kind of did a lot to bring that to the forefront. So, Dragon, you have some background you want to get into?
Yes, I do. And folks, you want this kind of really told you in really nice fashion. Thankfully, it's on YouTube. The A&E biography on Jaws is just really excellent. It's Jaws: The Inside Story. Check it out if you just want this kind of in its more expanded form. Just kind of cliff notes, mainly stemming from that, but it's also like little findings here and there from Jaws. Let me just kind of spell out the story of Jaws here for you in like 2 minutes.
And for the record, I like the A&E biography a lot better than I did like the other documentary I pointed out. I think the A&E biography, in spite of the other documentary being called The Shark Is Still Working, it doesn't actually get into the nitty-gritty of the filmmaking as much as the A&E biography does. I think the A&E biography tells a much more compelling narrative about the actual filmmaking process. So, Dragon,
the only flaw of the A&E biography is that it has all the commercial break moments built in there, like reminding us that now we're going to talk about this. And then,
right.
That's the only complaint I have with the thing. Otherwise,
and Roy Scheider narrates the other one, which is definitely a big plus. But I digress.
Anyway, so here's the cliff notes of the making and how we got Jaws on screen, folks. So again, it's a big old show. One of the best, seriously, behind some of my favorite stories of filmmaking, behind making a Superman and making Toy Story, this one's up there.
I'd say it's right up there with like Apocalypse Now in terms of like mythical film shoots.
Like one of the disaster film shoots, kind of like Terry Gilliam's thing with Don Keaton with Making La Mancha. Anyway.
Or Tommy Wiseau's The Room.
Yeah. Seriously, this could be a movie in its own right. Here is the making of Jaws.
That would be a lot of fun, Dragon. That would be a lot of fun. I think we should get what's his name from Saving Mr. Banks and the Founder on it.
Yes, we should get Johnny Lee Hancock.
John Lee Hancock, yeah.
Anyway, so just to boil it down here, so it all starts with this down on his luck writer, Peter Benchley, by the name of Peter Benchley. He was sitting on the beach one day, kind of like...
by Michael Keaton. No, I'm just kidding.
Point is, a down his luck writer by the name of Peter Benchley just sits on a beach one day. He's kind of looking for his next big idea, like a writer. Basically has literally the origin of Finding Nemo, oddly enough. He's looking out there and he's kind of thinking about the unknown. Like, what if? Like, what if there's something? anything could be out there. Like much like Andrew Stanton's thing with Nemo says. What if there was something really dangerous here around the beach, which led to the 1974 bestseller Jaws. So because of this being one of the most spectacular bestsellers of the time, Universal wanted to capitalize on its success with a movie. I bring in a director. Director says, "Okay, I know what kind of shot we're going to start out with here." Then he mentions okay, so then we see the whale. So that did not bode well confidence-wise for the guy. So okay, the guy doesn't even know what it's a shark. He thinks it's a whale. So we're going to go to thanks to Sid Sheinberg, a man who essentially made Steven Spielberg's career and vice versa. Spielberg, Sid Sheinberg, big old friend of Steven Spielberg. He says, "Let's take a chance on the Spielberg kid. Let's give him the movie." So this was Spielberg's first big movie, and the reason that Spielberg really kind of saw potential in this, and the reason he said yes, because he had a very similar film before this called Duel, which is an ABC TV movie about essentially it's Jaws on land with a giant truck pursuing.
Yeah, I love this. This is like the prototype of Jaws.
Absolutely, we have no Jaws without this, and there's a little tidbit at the end I'm going to point out to you. Literally towards the tail end of this movie, it brings it all back to Duel. You'll see.
Oh God.
Anyways, the point is, Duel was the big emphasis of I've done this movie before, I could do it again, but undersea,
Mm-hmm.
So Spielberg loved the third act of the book, which is pretty much the the second hour of the movie, is the shark hunt. He says, just focus on the core shark hunting story here. That's what it's really about. He threw out a lot of subplots like Hooper and Brody having an affair with the wife.
Hooper was much more of a pretty boy in the book.
Yeah. Basically, it's the stuff that probably reads better in like kind of a long-spanning book, a lot of pages, but on film would muddy the works. So after Peter Benchley did an initial draft of the movie, kind of delivering the same character problems. It's too much to put in one script. The characters weren't exactly likable enough. Spielberg took a pass on. He took a pass at the script. He basically did a draft of it, and then he brought in his eclectic bunch of really interesting backgrounds on these writers. He brought in to kind of punch up the script after he kind of took what he liked from Benchley's stuff and he put his own spin on it. We had Howard Sackler, who was a playwright. He was the majority of kind of just making Spielberg's thing into like an actual script. And then we had John Milius, who worked on it for dialogue. He really punched up the dialogue, like the Indianapolis scene. We had Carl Gottlieb, who was writing The Odd Couple at the time, and as Tiki said, he wrote the behind-the-scenes book. He brought the comedy. He brought the fun. Brought the levity. So this was Spielberg's first big movie. It was very ambitious and was very rushed, so they could piggyback off the success of the book for the summer of '75. So you got to remember, so it's literally within a year. Pretty much within a year they had to make this movie. It's not even a full year, pretty much. It's like probably beginning of '75, majority of '74.
Mm-hmm.
Vice versa. Anyway, so to achieve the realism, Spielberg really made two costly mistakes in the planning of this movie. Again, they were necessary to give us the film we have today, but they were like, he just wrote it off as, it'll be fine. To achieve the realism the film needed for the story, Spielberg decided to shoot in the Atlantic Ocean, which had never been done before. Again, on a really short time limit, that's really not a good gamble to make. So he said, let's shoot in the Atlantic Ocean, never been done before. Also, he learned that sharks cannot be trained, so okay, we'll use a mechanical shark.
And that very much reminds me of Walt Disney with Disneyland when he's like, hey, we should get these live animals out here on the jungle rivers, and they'll just provide entertainment all day long. It's like, no, Walt, no, they kind of need to be robots.
So, we'll get into
Spielberg really was kind of like a young Walt Disney with this movie. He was just like, he was gung-ho with it. But then, unfortunately, it was like kind of, like you said, Dragon, it's like the choice to film on the ocean. It gave us what we have today, but also, he still has nightmares to this very day about that production shoot from hell. So.
Yes, he does. And we'll get in all the production nightmares and all interesting little tidbits throughout the commentary. Just to kind of bring it to a close here, just all of that led to the most troubled gamble of production that resulted in one of the first and most successful summer blockbuster events that changed cinema from that day forward. The first blockbuster.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all. That's all she wrote.
Okay, folks. Okay, so like all of these commentaries, the reason we're doing this is because Steven Spielberg has neglected to give us commentary tracks on these movies. So.
Unfortunately.
Darn him for being so brilliant.
So much like the Disney commentaries we record, this is much in the same vein. And we're going to record this. We're going to try and make this as much of a running conversation as we can. But if you want to follow along, if you want to watch along with the movie, we'll also try and make it a good commentary. So, guys, you have... I'm sorry, we should have gone over this before we went on air. But you have it set to timestamp 10, right?
Yep.
Like roughly 9:10, just the minute the thing just kind of it comes in the focus, the Universal MCA company logo just comes in the focus, and we'll just wing from there.
Yeah, that's the go, folks. Just like Dragon said, just get it to as soon as Universal Studios, Disney Productions, as soon as that all comes into play, it comes to focus. Pause it should be right around the 9 or 10 second mark on the timestamp.
If you're watching on YouTube, it's around the 40 mark. 40 timestamp mark, or 36.
Geez.
So again, just like the minute the Universal MCA, old school MCA logo just comes in the focus.
Okay.
Yeah, the YouTube one, that's because they have the 100th anniversary logo first.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
That's the thing. So then, then we'll get to the original thing, which is pretty much, I guess that's in the original print. That's why that's still there, probably. It's my guess.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, so you ready to start?
Yeah.
So we go on go.
Go on, go. Go on, go. Okay.
Yeah.
And 1, 2, 3. Go! I love like the sonar sounds like right at the very beginning.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Mm.
Da-na.
Da 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 da.
Da.
Da 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 da. All right.
So yes,
We're getting a little ahead of ourselves.
so, by the way, coming up is one of the shots I was talking about. Again, just in utter blackness of like a darkened room, you have just the image of the blue undersea coming up here.
Oh,
After the names go away.
Well, certainly, you know, like right here, like, and this is all of this underwater stuff, especially when we see kind of our victims later on. That's usually Spielberg really came up with the water box cam. I don't know if you guys are familiar. It's pretty much a camera in a box, like a little window inside, and they would kind of hold it under. And actually, the low tech version is if people used to make fan films, you're just kind of your old school filmmakers. They'll use trash cans and they'll cut a little hole in it and have basically a piece of plexiglass inside trash cans. That's how people make the homemade version of that.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, I really love the rule that's established for the first-person point of view in the water. It's like, as soon as you see that, you know what it means, and I love how the film plays with that. It's really creative. It's very Hitchcockian.
I want to say Spielberg came up with that, just the water box cam. Him or his team on the movie.
Well, if he didn't come up with it, he definitely popularized it for sure.
Sure.
Okay, so I really do like how it's setting the stage here. This is kind of like, this is a big time capsule of the 70s right here. You got these kind of post-60s hippies just hanging out on the beach. In our botched attempt to record a commentary last night, I was kind of going off on how stupid this young gentleman is. I'll kind of spare him that tonight, but suffice to say,
Looks like he's drinking Starbucks.
I think he should be paying.
Well, it's an Irish coffee.
All I'm gonna say is I think this young lad should be paying better attention.
Yeah, so poor Chrissy Watkins here is the famous scene where she's about to bite it here, or be bitten, we should say. But, by the way, she's also a trained stunt person too. That's why she did this. She trained animals, oddly enough.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not drunk.
It's also fascinating later on because again I think it's just so well shot this opening here. Looking at it years later, just clear as crystal. It's so beautiful looking. They have just the black figures walking here and just the blue lighting, kind of like the sun coming up. Later on, it's like we see no detail on them, but it's astounding how well that looks.
Oh yeah.
And also, again, this is before Spielberg himself, again, showing how it all ties together. With Indiana Jones Temple of Doom, our skinny dipping here was okayed for a PG rating. This whole movie was okayed for a PG rating, until Spielberg himself came up with the PG-13, which this definitely would be.
Yeah.
Like Psycho in the 60s was rated R, and this was rated PG. It's to show you how...
Right? That is kind of funny.
Now, which movie created the R rating, or is that PG-13? I mean,
It was after Temple of Doom. Spielberg had
it was Crusade.
I don't think that was the
Temple
first
of
one to
Doom
have a
was
PG-13.
Well, I mean, it was because of Doom that it was created.
There's
So,
another
yeah.
Temple of Doom.
I read about that in his book.
so he's actually friends with Spielberg's friends with Jack Valenti, and Jack Valenti, you'll note they poke fun of this on Freakazoid because Spielberg's tied in with Amblin, the animation part of that too. So he actually called us. Yeah.
What a good cold open this is, though. So
Yeah,
Absolutely.
man.
That would be a surprise to bring back, and I took a few cues from this.
I know. My favorite part of this whole thing is how at first she doesn't really know what's going on, and she's kind of just taken aback by the situation more than anything else.
Oh, yeah.
And then it just gets more and more violent.
And this is a very dangerous scene to shoot, by the way. You never get away with this nowadays because there's like 10 guys. I don't know if it's 10 guys on each side or just 10 guys all together. They're pulling her on on wires on the side, and she doesn't know where it's coming from. And if she screams like, "Hey, stop!" They won't know so she's an actual danger.
Yeah, exactly.
And in the ADR, it's actually really dangerous. Dreyfuss has a funny little anecdote about it. He says Spielberg had to pour water down her throat for the ADR, which is accidental waterboarding. So he's actually guilty of a war crime, which is in context pretty funny.
So if this guy is literally about to pass out, why the hell does he even volunteer to go skinny dipping in the first place?
Well,
Because he doesn't know he's going to pass out.
I mean, there's some things worth passing out for, Tiki.
I still don't buy it. But that's okay. All right. Great establishing shot of our hero right here.
Ah, yes. Beautiful Martha's Vineyard.
Yeah, Martha's Vineyard, which you can visit at Universal Studios, and it's called Martha's Vineyard.
Right, can
Unfortunately.
we draw Martha's Vineyard now?
Yeah, so Lorraine Gary, she's actually, I believe, still married to Sid Sheinberg. I mean, she was married to Sid Sheinberg at the time, Spielberg's production buddy,
Hmm.
producer friend. Ah, yes. So the great Roy Scheider here is playing a Martin Brody, my favorite character. When I was a kid to this day, and again, Tiki, I know you're rolling your eyes, I know you are, but I kid you not, rewatching this movie, it just dawned on me, it clicked in my head. He's very much like Jim Gordon in this movie.
I mean, I can give you that over a lot of Jim Gordon comparisons you make.
It's like, as a kid, I always liked him. I never knew why, and now it kind of clicks
This is
together.
honestly one of the more accurate examples that you have, I think.
Be-
First of
yeah.
all, I love the example how he has two phones, one for home and one for police business in his home.
It's like, seriously, you could actually see Roy Scheider, like, a few years later, you could imagine him as a more accurate Jim Gordon in Batman
I think
89.
he'd be a lot better than Pat Hingle.
Yeah, but again, that's mostly on the writing, though. Pat Hingle is a good actor, but again, we have no idea because he was really written off in that movie.
Batman, the villains are coming at us. Batman, save us! Go to the fort or in
Edgar, oh God,
We need some shark repellent.
he left us a signal.
Get the shark repellent.
Yes. That's pretty funny.
Oh, what about that old Batman show where the shark starts biting Batman's leg and he's in the helicopter?
Oh god, yeah, that's the Batman. That's the Batman '60s movie.
That's where the shark repellent comes from.
I'll tell you why as a kid I
you're
liked
right,
him now.
Jake, you're right.
Yes. I'll tell you why. Why it really clicked in my head, and this is why I just like him as a character in general too. I love that he is like Jim Gordon from the animated series, which as a kid was my huge introduction to that character. Was that he was just a blue collar guy trying to do the right thing. All these bosses all over him saying, "No, you can't do this. It's gonna." The mayor, someone's always saying, "Well, no, you have to do your job." Well, you're not letting me do my job. Essentially, that sort of thing going on, and that's essentially what Brody has to contend with in this.
The mayor is essentially a very, very, very light version of the political corruption that Gordon deals with.
Yeah, and again, it's actually, oddly enough, again, rewatching, I picked up on details. It's been a while since I've watched this all the way through, because usually whenever you tune to it on TV, it's usually in the third act during the shark hunt, let's be honest. But yeah, Brody here, I mean, it's literally like his backstory. We get some details of his backstory in the beginning here. I completely forgot about until I was watching it recently. That he was transferred from New York, and he's dealing with small town crime. There's like this running gag through in the beginning here. It was like everyone's telling there's vandalism and there's parking issues and all sorts of stuff. And he's like the only guy in the scene right now that's going on here is like the only person that can actually contend with a murder or someone who's been killed, because we see our islanders here really green to this sort of thing, like no one ever gets killed on Amity Island.
And that's one of the things I really love about Act 1 of this movie is kind of the distinction Spielberg makes between Islanders and then Brody, who's from New York. It's like we get it right from the intro where he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna park my car in the garage." It's like him and his wife are joking about the accents. It's like I really love how the movie establishes its locale so well and kind of like the rules and the climate of Amity Island.
Like right off the bat, I mean, I think I have a lot of sympathy towards Brody here, because again, you see the guy's just trying to do his job, but also he's kind of downgraded in his job. It's like, I'm handling such the most mundane little things now.
Yeah, and Tiki, I know you're probably gonna not like this, but I feel sympathy for the guy there who is with her, because he probably feels somewhat responsible. I mean, he was drunk and.
He better feel somewhat responsible.
I mean, let's give him some. I mean, he did. He was responsible enough to go to the police saying, "Yeah, she's missing," and I was the last one to see her. So again, it shows you there was a great element of this movie, Tiki, we should address with the whole Martha's Vineyard kind of small town. I love the small town community thing. It does ring a lot like Steven Universe in a way. It's like it's like your small town community, like they're all friendly to each other.
Steven
Later
Universe, Beach City, yeah. Again, it's like I think we can just kind of cherry pick things that this movie influenced.
I just want to point out real quick, it just happened, the whole shark attack thing he was just typing down there. I love that Spielberg has just such a brilliant command over visual storytelling in this movie, because like our character, they had a little image of our main characters who are terrified of sharks and terrified of water. He's typing shark attack on there, and later on he's going to be flipping through the pages of the book, and there's going to be so much great. He reads emotion so well into a visual image later on when he's flipping through the book.
Oh.
That's what my point. I mean, that's just like the beginning of that sort of stuff with him. Again, I think Brody, something that Say and I happened upon when we were just talking one time. We kind of noticed that Brody, in many ways, he actually kind of embodies Spielberg during the production of this movie. He's kind of guy's in over his head. He's trying to keep his head above water in many ways. You know.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you.
And again, it's like everyone's like talking about these little trivial matters. He's actually trying to get to the bottom of someone who's been killed.
The one guy on the beach, the husband of his wife's friend, he's the one that really bothers me the most because he comes up and he's just so demanding of everything.
But again, while our main guy here is like he's all focused on he's all business, he's all on the actual problems going on here. Again, I love the mundanity too. It's brilliant getting to the heart of the issues. Well, you need signs that say, you know, get people off the beach, because apparently this town is so ill-equipped for anything like this. You know, it's like they don't even have signs like, you know, the beach is closed. He has to make those signs. It has like this idiot deputy, is like this greenhorn idiot deputy who just has the bark orders, just, you know, make the signs. You know, there's a little throwaway line just happening. It says, "Work on your printing," or it starts about to happen. Let the secretary do the printing. Well, I can do printing. No, let her do the printing.
Regular Barney and his one bullet.
Yeah. So here we go. Mayor Vaughn, played by Murray Hamilton here, and this jacket was such a great find too. But look at these little anchors on that jacket.
That's awesome, yeah. Again, I said this before, but I would just love to live in this little town here.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, except for the sharks.
You know.
Well, just stay on land.
Except for the sharks, but I want to live on an Amity Island where there's no sharks at all.
Sandy, if you go to Martha's Vineyard, it hasn't changed at all since the 70s. It's still like a small little fishing community.
My gosh, is that... Wait, so Martha's Vineyard is where they filmed this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My gosh!
Why do you think we kept mentioning it?
That's what I was talking about before. I'm sorry, Tiki. Pardon my friend Shirley.
No,
I didn't know that's where they.
But I'm just saying, like Martha's Vineyard, like if you want the Amity Island experience, the closest thing you're going to get is Martha's Vineyard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Because you got to remember, a large majority of these extras are just in Martha's Vineyards.
Right.
Can we just point out how ironic the name Amity Park is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, so again, our guy in the blue suit here with the mustache, that's it's Gottlieb.
Yeah, that's Gottlieb, right?
Writer?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Odd Couple writer who wrote the book that Tiki's talking about.
Oh, okay.
So by the way here, so again, I love this. Is kind of very much
here, the whole thing about the panic on the 4th of July.
Oh yeah, so this is very much kind of like this is the most corrupt the mayor gets in this movie, I would say. So, you know, he's really, we can see the medical examiner.
I think that whole line sets the tone for the rest of the movie. I think it's a good kind of thesis statement on the dilemma that Brody's facing, and I really do like kind of like you understand the mayor to a certain extent. The mayor, it's like he is very three-dimensional. He's not just a corrupt, over-the-top negative like, oh, I'm a corrupt politician, say.
Yeah, because he does. And this is the most. Again, it's corrupt, but it's not in your face corrupt. Because the medical examiner behind him is like he says, "Oh, I rule as a shark tank." Well, you know, I was mistaken. Because you get a sense that the mayor has intimidated him by saying, "Well, look, he just ran the problem by him." It's like, well, you know, and this is kind of the mayor's thing on the whole. Why he's a really dimensional character is that the mayor, you know, he realized that, you know, the community at Amity Island, they make a lot of. You know, they make all of their money during the summer. It's like kind of a Route 66 town. People are driving in, the tourists, they make all their tourist money. If they hear shark attack in a place that's mostly marketed on, hey, beach fun, go in the ocean.
Right. Exactly.
That's going to be a big problem. So again, you understand the mayor's dilemma here, and that's why the coroner's like saying, oh, okay, well, no, it's a boat propeller, probably. I mean, there's a chance it's viable, right? And we're going to see a Dreyfus later on really rake him over the coals for that.
Well, they could at least put signs like swim at your own risk and stuff like that.
Certainly,
Okay,
but I don't think
this is definitely the second Hitchcockian moment of the film. The first, obviously, being the cold open. I love all these reaction shots to Brody cutting back and forth between the water, and half the time it's something just kind of like this, for example, the kid popping out. It's like, and Brody's so freaked out. And we as an audience, it's like we're just on the edge of our seats from that cold open, and we're in Brody's shoes right now.
Absolutely. We're going to have one of the most famous Spielberg shots of all time coming up.
This douchebag comes along.
Yeah. But again, what I love about this too is I love they really, again, I know it's at the end it is a little well founded here, like how he's just kind of looking for the bad stuff to happen. Now we have like this lady sitting out there, just kind of floating, like she's
right.
To get eaten. And again, it's like kind of Gordon and Gotham, like living in the worst city in the world, is waiting for crime at every second. It's like, you know, he's in a situation where he knows something bad's going to happen because I mean, if there's a shark in the water, people are in the water, you know, put two and two together.
Wait, what time stamp are you guys at?
15.
Yeah, it's like 15:20 for me, but
okay, I'm at the same part then.
Yeah, I'm at like 1523 right now.
Yeah, you're right though. Like we see kind of like a kid over top the guy's shoulders, and I like that. Well, they had a couple playing around there. And he's
So he's watching everything like this, but I mean, if there actually was a shark attack, he wouldn't really be able to do anything.
well, he'd usher him to get out of the water. Why he's keeping a lookout so he can just instantly shout, "Shark, get out of the water!"
Right. Because at this point, he's basically the only one in the whole town who's kind of got his senses about that sort of thing.
Yeah. Okay. There wasn't many people in the water. I didn't think there was anyone else in the water except those.
Okay, so importantly, that guy's calling for the dog.
Yep. Now we got Harry coming up here. I mean, we got that's some bad hat Harry.
There's actually a TV company that's called that's Some Bad Hat Harry, I think.
Well, sure. I know Matthew Vaughn is something similar to that for his production thing. That's like the guys
I think they're one of the studios that produced House, the TV show.
Guys,
And also
Sounds
X-Men
right.
movies.
most brutal moment of the film. Most brutal moment right here.
And this actually scared in the lobby. Like Spielberg just by the exit, just seeing it, like people are gonna walk out of the movie, and there was a guy walking out of the movie and says, "Oh, there's my first walk," and then the guy was running. "Oh my God, my first run!" And he threw up in the lobby because this scene was so gruesome to him.
Poor Pippin.
Well, I would say my favorite shot in the whole thing is that zoom we get on Brody's face when the shark
best
attack
shot, one of the best shots in Spielberg's career. Honestly, it really is. It's like one of the most definitive, like his Spielberg's whatever achievement award he wins. You know they have to use that shot in there. I mean, you know they've used that shot before. I mean, in little reels like we celebrate Steven Spielberg, they always use that shot.
Oh yeah.
Oh snap!
Oh, the poor kitten or lad. Oh, there's the shot.
How'd they do that? How do they pulled that off?
Well, it's like it's a fixed point, some sort of perspective thing they did there. I forget the specifics. It's been a while. Again, Bro's just doing all he can do. He's telling him to get him out of the water. Thankfully, here it's like people are listening to him. Later on, it's going to be a little too late when they listen.
Well, we have like a giant red herring like 20 minutes into the movie, which I think is a really fun plot device Spielberg uses.
Mm. But again, also with Harry just passing, we just saw something really bad happen in the water. I just want to point out again, I love that there is kind of some mystery around Brody because we know he's afraid of the water. We know there's just enough mystery on him because we know he doesn't like the water. We know people say, "Why? Chief, like they're all coming to him because again, you're right, Tiki. In the past conversation we've had, he is kind of the beacon to, like he's the new fish, and everyone can smell it on him. Like, hey, there's a new guy in town. We're all looking to him for, he's in a position of power. We'll go to him. And we're trying to activate.
Him and Hooper are both kind of like fish out of water, but Hooper is obviously the one with the know-how, and Brody's the one with the power. So it's
the way I've always
dynamic they have.
The way I've always looked at it is that he's Brody in a way he's trying to keep his head above water, or Hooper's like the only one who's like kind of on solid ground on the boat, and they have Quint who's just completely off his rockers. He's been in the water too long, like the Indianapolis story. He's been in the water.
So in high school, when I had to take a government class, I had to go to 3 of these city council type meetings, and let me tell you, this scene is just like perfection in terms of like how these city council type meetings actually go.
I love how strung together it looks. It feels like a real town hall meeting. They're all just it looks like they're all crammed into a classroom or something.
They are. That's what it is, Dragon. They are crammed into classrooms.
I mean, there's a chalkboard there.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, there's a chalkboard.
Wait a
There's
second.
a fucking chalkboard.
Tell me something, guys. When they walked in, did you see the design on the chalkboard yet?
No.
But you know what that means? That means Quint drew that on there.
He's just Quint right now in the corner, is like just drawing. He's kind of biding his time.
So I forgot about that.
Sipping tea with Howard Hamlin.
Now there's a deleted scene where Quint is shown getting out of his trunk.
All right, here we go.
It shows you. Sorry?
No, go on.
Oh.
No, right there.
There's a deleted scene where it shows Quint getting out of his truck, and it shows just his feet. But then they cut that out. I think this is definitely a much better introduction for Quint than that would have been.
Well, yeah, because this
Yeah.
is one of the best introductions to a character in all of cinema. in my
Yeah,
opinion.
yeah, and I'm saying that's why they deleted it out, because
Right.
And
Yeah,
again,
for sure.
I love this. Again, I love Brody in this scene too. Again, he's just trying to keep his head above water, telling these people, guys, look, I didn't agree to 24 hours, which is a bad idea. We can't let people go in 24 hours. We gotta only went after we get this thing. We let people go in the water. And again, that's literally the position Jim Gordon's always put in Batman stories. I know. I'm sorry. I'm going to try to ease off the Jim Gordon stuff because that's like the last really big mention I have for it.
Okay.
But seriously, like he's always in that position of like trying to explain to idiot politicians and then guys over him his head. No, this is a bad idea. Trying to explain to panicking people. No, guys, listen, just do the logical thing here. So yeah, he had to draw that shark. It wasn't there before. It's a great Robert Shaw.
Did you guys see that guy get out of the way for the camera?
Yeah.
Also, it's funny. You'll notice the guy in the corner. It's like it's Quint's kind of his assistant, I guess.
Now there's the deleted scene where he kind of leaves because he knows what's going to happen. So
Right.
if you guys haven't, if someone hasn't seen it yet,
I haven't seen the deleted scenes.
you have or haven't?
I have not.
Oh, you haven't. You should go check it out.
Okay.
Okay.
So let me mention something about Robert Shaw. Here's how he found his way to the movie here. Robert Shaw, before Robert Shaw found his way there, Lee Marvin was considered, but he actually liked to go. He actually wanted to go fishing instead of filming going fishing. Sterling Hayden was considered, but he owed the government a lot of money, so any of his wages would have been paid to them. Not ideal. But the reason Robert Shaw was chosen, aside from being an excellent actor, was for a really awesome reason. It's because he was as dangerous as the shark. Because he looked as dangerous as the shark. How awesome is that for your casting?
Well, it's awesome, especially because that right in itself is like that's kind of defines the character. Like, Quint most definitely he's the legendary figure where if anyone were to go up against this shark hand to hand and just fucking kill it, it would be Quint.
Yeah. And again, I think it just makes perfect sense with kind of our dynamics between our three characters here, which, by the way, in the past, we should probably mention, is like my favorite's Brody, your favorite's Hooper, and whose favorite's Quint?
Sandy's is Quint, right?
Yeah.
It's Quint.
Jacob, what's your favorite? Break the tie.
Jaws.
I know.
The shark.
That's fair.
I guess. Yeah, the shark.
All right.
Well, again, it's debatable. He is actually. They always treat it like he was the star of the movie. Like Joe, the shark's the main star, and the rest of them are kind of the good supporting cast.
His name is Bruce.
Yep, Bruce the Shark, named after Spielberg's lawyer, who is still currently his lawyer.
I don't know if I'd be flattered or insulted.
Oh, I'd be absolutely flattered.
Well,
Well,
yeah.
I mean, hey, Finding Nemo, Bruce the Shark. Where do you think they
Right.
got it from?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
I know, but it's like you named a killer animal after me.
Well, no, you named the title star of my movie, the awesome one that's gonna killing everyone.
I know. I'm just kidding.
I know. Oh, this is swag, and I love the dynamic of these two because that's the reason you're showing is they have such a great back and forth together. They feel like a real married couple. Spielberg is really good at communicating relationships. He really is.
Mm-hmm.
It's like believable relationships. Seriously, you want to get drunk and fool around. I mean, that's a realistic kind of married relationship. They see, and she can sense when he's in distress. You can see it visually, and she will come to comfort him here. And I love that. This is one of the best scenes in the whole thing. And Spielberg knows how to read the emotions. I know I hinted at this one earlier on when he's flipping through the book, but again, it's like understandably, again, he's afraid of the water. Two, he's afraid that there's a shark in the water. So obviously, he's going to be yelling to his son, "You get out of that boat!" And she's pointing out, "Look, you don't want to make him afraid with not so many words. You don't want to make him afraid of the water like you are." And again, Brody being the nice guy, he's like, "No, I don't want to do that." And it's really a good human moment for him. But at the same time, it's like, again, the concerns that are staring her in the face, literally right now, like, "Oh my God, the shark could really be a problem. It's attacking boats." Again, in this scene, by the way, we have great foreshadowing with all the book pages here, like the shark tearing through the boat, and later on with the little Easter egg with the oxygen tank. It's so greatly foreshadowed. This movie, Tiki, like I think you said it before, it is kind of cinema 101 of a perfect movie. It's like this and Psycho are kind of in the books of cinema. Like you study one a fantastic film.
Yeah, like I studied Jurassic Park a lot more, but even I'll definitely admit Jurassic Park I think has a lot more moments where they're fun, they're silly, but they're not necessarily perfect. So Yeah, this is much more just like it's textbook. You know what I mean? It's absolutely textbook.
Now that
Like I
roast
said,
does
every
not
time
look.
we see this goddamn perspective of the shark underwater and the music, it sets up the rules so well. It's the rules of cinema in a way. You know what I mean? It fascinates me. It
That
fascinates
roast.
me just sort of how visuals and music, how Spielberg can really just tell us all we need to know and all that all that needs to be said to set up the mood and the atmosphere in this movie.
Oh, there's that glasses shot. I love when the pages are flipping in his glasses. I'm sorry, you were saying about the rope?
I was saying, it's not really relevant now, but that roast looked more like a human hurt than it did a meal.
It did look really nasty.
Yeah,
The holiday roast again. That's a $3,000 holiday
Yeah,
roast.
there's the air tank. The air tank just went by.
Yep, very right.
Dragon, this glasses shot is really, really nice.
Yeah. But again, this is also great foreshadow for the Scar scene we have when their discussion on board the ship later on. They're kind of looking at scars here in the book, and again, we don't. Again, I love that there's enough mystery on our guy here. Like, he has he obviously he's had a really rough encounter in the ocean because he has some fear of water and fear of stuff that lurks in the water.
Yeah, I don't think you mean scars. I think you mean chunks.
Well, I mean chunks in that. I'm just saying later on they're talking about scars.
Yeah.
I'll retire.
Oh, Brett, you guys want to talk about the score of the shark right now?
I think the score.
I think the score kind of speaks for itself. Like I said, I think the best thing about the score is how it fits with the rules of the movie. It's like as soon as we hear that score, we know what's coming, and Spielberg sets that up from the beginning.
This movie wouldn't be half as effective if it wasn't for the score.
Oh yeah, again, I think the two biggest elements of this movie, the reason this movie really worked, it boils down to, there are a lot of other elements, of course, Spielberg and the cast and all the crew, and that all factors in. Some of the two elements, the editing, which is Vera Fields, and the score by John Williams. Those two elements together, the editing and the score, they make the movie.
Having said that, I really like how modest this Williams score is, because Williams can go really over the top, really bombastic when he wants to. A lot of the times it works, but Williams, like, the Jaws theme, obviously, the bump, 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 like, that's fit itself into the film iconography. Like, that is a part of pop culture.
It's been parodied so many times, because if you want the intense, like on SpongeBob, was a great thing with the giant clam episode, where they're just kind of like playing, they had literally played the orchestra playing the Jaws notes. It's like, no, stop playing the music. They're like a parody of the Jaws notes.
But having said that, though, I think that, I really do like how modest the score gets sometimes, and it's like, oh, we're just gonna have a jaunty little flute-led sea shanty tune.
It's literally like when the Williams was telling Spielberg what he was showing him.
It's crazy in certain moments.
It's literally he played like chopsticks.
We're passing over my favorite character.
Okay, well,
and it won Williams' first Oscar.
Oh, they're all gonna die. That is still one of my favorite sarcastic deliveries in all of film.
I think you're a little out of those
sleepies. Die.
The score actually won Williams' first Oscar. Well, technically his second, but it jump-started his career. It's for original scores.
Yeah, so the great Richard Dreyfuss playing Matt Hooper here.
Yeah, Hooper, like I said, I think the reason why he's my favorite out of the three is, for me personally, he's most relatable because I've always been kind of like the neurotic, nerdy type, and I don't know what to say. I really like him as a comic relief. I think he's definitely the glue that holds the group of three together. He's kind of the person that kind of holds. He's the person that basically makes the other two from killing each other in a way.
Definitely
I really like that about him.
Definitely the antithesis of Quint.
Yeah, and again, I think he's the perfect middle ground between our three guys. He knows his stuff. So he's not afraid of the water, but at the same time, he knows as much as Quint. But he knows as much as Quint. But Quint's going off his rocker, knowing the stuff he knows. But rational, like Brody, though. Yeah, Brody's his own guy. He's making fun of things at the same time. He had more personality than Brody, but he's like teetering on the side. Like if he took more of that personality, he would have become like Quint.
And much like Brody, he's struggling with fitting into the town's society, where the town is like, it's very much like just kind of, yokels in a way.
It just had my love that he's, I love him talking down to the deputy who's just like sitting there doing throw stuff at the window.
Guys, I made a horrible mistake.
Now he takes the cigarette out of his mouth.
Guys, I accidentally closed my windows, so we're gonna need to sync me up, but give me a minute.
Anyway, so
I'm terribly sorry.
Yeah, let's see, where was I saying? All right, let me talk about what Dreyfuss is actually really funny. So, George Lucas has suggested Richard Dreyfuss to him, to Spielberg, and also at the same time, George Lucas, as many times in his career, as much as he helps, he does kind of hurt a little bit because joking around, because many people like Spielberg were taking pictures inside the shark. One night, he and a bunch of the writers they got inside the shark, and Lucas broke it by accident. They all scurried away.
Oh, George.
Yeah, but after he pointed him in the direction of Dreyfuss kept turning him down, saying, "Oh, man, that sounds like a fantastic movie. It's going to be too rough to shoot. I'm more for watching the movie than being in that movie." Anyway, so he kept turning him down repeatedly. Let's say no together, and then he saw a performance of he saw one of his movies, which as an actor he felt very paranoid. He said, "Oh my God, he gave such a horrible performance." People actually liked it, but he was convinced it was such a terrible performance. He was desperate to get work, so he went back to Spielberg on his knees, essentially saying, "Please let me be in the movie." But so good.
It's kind of funny how the only victim we see in the end is Ben Gardner, when there are all these other people luring the shark in on the smaller boats.
And remember, Ben Gardner was the nice guy that helped him up to the dock. Say, "Hey, young fellow, where you going?" He was he was a nice, kindly man, a very pleasant man.
Guys, timestamp.
31:25 currently.
Yeah, what he said.
What?
Now it's 31:30.
31. Okay.
Now it's 31.
Hold on.
Right.
I'm just gonna get to like 33 and just.
31:45.
Keep talking. Keep on.
Get the 32. Get the 32 and we'll cue you.
Hold on. Keep talking.
Anyway, Alright, anyway, we have a Hooper in his element here, again doing an excellent job kind of the autopsy of the shark, and...
32.
32.
No, hold on, it's still...
God. So points, we have Hooper in his element here, and again, he's doing a really great lay. He just told, Burley not to smoke in here, and he's like, all this, very much like Jim Gordon, sorry. He's a constant smoker, a very stressed out guy.
Hold on, let me know when it's 32:57.
Jacob, you let him know.
Okay. 32:57.
Again, I love his chewing at the corner here. Again, the corner has been kind of not bought, but he's been convinced by the mayor not to kind of fudge up the results. He's like, anyone with a brain can tell this was not a propeller blade. Again, I love how pissed off he's getting at the corner. Again, it's kind of spitting in the face. Again, it's really good foreshadowing setup for like how the animosity he's going to feel towards the mayor and like the way he's been doing things. Like only an idiot would say this sort of thing. And here's the red herring.
Oh yeah, giant red herring.
Our tiger shark, and again, you can tell actually in the pattern there.
Time.
Okay.
Very much like in the pattern there is like kind of like a tiger shark.
I love how the way that this thing is posed is the same way that we get the iconic Universal Studios photo op of Jaws himself.
Yeah, which is always it was like a little pet peeve after seeing the movie. They kind of got it wrong. They never hung up Jaws. They hung up the fake.
Yeah, right. And the shark outside at Universal Studios very clearly is Jaws. It's not a tiger shark.
Look at its eyes. You can tell. You can actually look at it's fake.
Yep.
I mean, you can actually tell. Sure that in the movie it might be real, but you can actually tell it's a fake shark.
Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, also, even by the way it's structured, you can tell it's not real. Not to put.
Which one are you talking about, Jacob?
The fake one.
The current one, the one that's hanging up right now, you can tell it's.
Oh
not.
yeah.
I don't think that's that important.
You can see its eyes.
I bought it. I thought it was fine because there's enough detail there. Again, bear in mind, this is a movie that kind of set the standard for sharks. So it's like you take what you can get.
I mean, to be honest, I think it's a
lot more believable than anything in the Sharknado movies.
To be honest, I think the Jaws animatronic and the actual boat ride that was there looks more fake than the one that's hanging up.
Well, yeah, I'll agree with you there. That thing looks like a straight up like something you could buy at a Halloween store.
So anyway, here again, I love that Hooper is just kind of again serving his character's purpose here. He's kind of pointing out that again, everyone's like, "Yeah, we caught the shark," without kind of considering. Well, guys, we have to be absolutely sure here because there is such a thing as more than one shark. Mm-hmm. He's pointing out, no, it's not fitting with the bite radius here, and coming up is one of my favorite bits.
This is a lot of people's favorite bit. This is one of the more emotional moments.
So, I love the acting on the acting on Brody coming up. I love it when he's just kind of in a reaction to show you how good he is. He'll be getting right here. He's getting the news from. He's like so
I have
happy.
a fun
Yes.
fact about this lady dragon, but keep going.
He's so happy, saying, yes, finally we caught the shark, but he's being fed the facts here as much as he wants. Like, yeah, come on, let's just leave it be. Let's not cause a panic, and we're all happy here. But again, as he hears the plain facts. You just can't ignore them. Like, that wasn't consistent with the bite ratings. Again, being policemen, the evidence, it wasn't consistent with the evidence, and we have to, we just need to check. So there's a simple way we can check this, and he's game for this. Yeah, you can see in his face just slowly kind of the smile disappears, like, yeah, oh no, it's not as clean cut as we thought it was, but yeah, we're gonna do the right thing. I love the ethic, I love the morality of Martin Brody here.
Okay, really quickly, this was one of the fun stories I got from the more recent documentary. This woman right here, she's a local to Martha's Vineyard.
Yeah, Lee Fiero.
Yeah. And she, like, one of the big things in Martha's Vineyard is people will go up to her and ask to take a picture of her slapping them.
Yep.
And by far the biggest demographic for that, young males.
But again, they want to feel like Brody in the scene. That's what
I love that. It's like this little old lady who was, it's like she's still going around like slapping like college kids, it's hilarious, it's hysterical.
I tell you one thing, I do love the levels of this scene. This scene is very important. What the slap here, what it really embodies is this is kind of the defining moment of the movie where Brody, no matter what he does, he can't sweep it under the rug, even if it's an accident anymore. It's just basically reaffirms I have absolutely got to do what Hooper says here, because if I don't, because I didn't act when I was basically playing ball with the political figures of this town here. I mean, an innocent a girl and not Christy Watkins. That's the thing. It's a little different. But the point is, this woman's son got killed, and it's my fault because I didn't like ignore them and just they closed the beach off regardless. I didn't do that. So
oh, sorry. Go ahead.
It's like he cannot allow that to happen any further.
I'm finding it hard to believe that. I'm finding it hard to believe that this old guy behind her is her husband, because he doesn't look too distressed at all. I mean, his son just if it's Alex's dad, was that his name? Yeah, I think.
Yeah, it was Alex Kidner.
Alex's dad, then doesn't look too distressed after his son just died.
I don't know. It looks pretty sad.
You guys are on.
But he's not saying anything to Brody,
I'm sorry?
He's not saying... What?
Are we on the father-son moment?
Well, no, we're not there yet.
What?
I'm saying it's about the...
What timestamp are you on, though?
37:40. It's... Well, now it's
45.
And now it's 45.
Oh, God. I'm way ahead of you guys.
So, and then Brody's walking away sad, and we're about to get to the father-son moment. What was I think? Okay, so... what was I? Well, he looked pretty stressed, but she was there when it happened, so she would be the one to bring it up to him. I don't know. It's like he wasn't there during the thing, I guess. I'm saying, I think
his son is still dead. If it was my son that died, I'd definitely say something.
Again, remember, I think he's processed a lot better than her because she was there during the thing. Like, again, it wasn't Brody's fault necessarily, but it's like she holds him responsible, and she wanted the personal moment. I don't know.
I guess you're right.
But yeah, this is a great father-son moment. Again,
let me know when the son's making the monster face.
Well, they're together in the room right now.
Well, just when you know what I'm talking about with the monster face, right?
Yeah.
Let me know when the monster face comes.
All right.
Jacob, I got your timestamp that you told me, but it did not work out at all. Like, I was like a scene ahead of you guys.
Monster face.
No, Tiki. Nope. We were talking about something completely different. We were in the morning scene where the mom comes up and slaps Brody.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. And when you were talking on that, I was at the scene that we're on now with the kid.
Are you linked up, or did you just get into the conversation?
Well, right now the mother just walked away, and the kid just walked away, and...
Okay, they're all walking away. Now Hooper's arrived. Now you're synced up. Okay.
Can I just say something quick about the kid?
What?
Just really quick. First of all, I think a fun thing to track throughout Spielberg Month is the Spielberg tropes, and one of the big one is the father-son bonding moment, so that's very much the first one. Also, just a fun little thing is that moment was actually a genuine behind-the-scenes moment on set, and Roy Scheider actually went to Spielberg, and he's like, because he was sitting around and the kids started imitating stuff that Roy Scheider would do, and he was like, "Hey, Steven, look at this," and they do this little routine, and that's how it got into the movie. So,
Yeah, perfectly.
What I love about that scene is we're going from, again, just reaffirming kind of Brody's state of mind here in this scene. Kind of the ending of this scene really is just showing how much Brody was affected by the grieving mother. Is that it cuts from a woman who's lost a family that's lost their child to Brody bonding with his son.
He doesn't want to experience that either.
Yeah, the death of one boy to the life of another boy, and why he wants to preserve that by definitely going after this shark. He doesn't want his son to be afraid of the water. At the same time, he's going to have to go into the water to make the waterway safe for his son. That's going to be building later on points like he has to do something to stop the shark that's in the water.
Okay, guys, we need to get this conversation back to the current scene, and that is my fault. But let's talk about alcohol right here as Brody's trying to open the bottle.
All right, well, go.
Go right ahead.
Mr. Hooper fan, go on.
Okay. I'm just saying. I really love the comedy in this scene. It's Hooper and Brody's wife bonding, and I think this is probably the only hint that we get of that love triangle dragon that you brought up, where
yes.
Where Brody, Hooper is kind of bonding with the wife, and Brody's just in the background, like, if I'm gonna listen to this, I need to be drunk.
Yeah. It was like a thing in the book where, I didn't read the book. I'm just saying what I've read about, what I've heard about is that...
My dad read the book before he saw the movie, actually.
Well, that makes sense. Again, 74, that was the reason a lot of people tuned in to see the movie. The point is, it was like she was like in a troubled marriage.
That's a lot of wine.
Well, again, he's had a rough day. A widow just slapped him.
I love the tiny little drop that he gives his wife. The tiny little morsel in comparison. And that's Hooper's wine, by the way, and he's just given himself the lion's share. It's great. It's great. You guys know. Okay, let's just track this right now. We have the John Hammond champagne scene in Jurassic Park. So.
Yeah, he's had a rough.
Saving that. Well, this occasion, I show you. All right, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
He's had a rough day. It's very much kind of like our Civil War scene you pointed out last time. It's very much kind of like the Tony Stark being confronted by the mother.
Absolutely.
But this is a great human scene again. It's really, I think, cementing Hooper and Brody's friendship here. It's like kind of like he's coming over in a moment of, again, he was there when he got slapped. So again, him showing his sympathies for him. I love the dynamic here of him saying, "Well, I'm going to do like you're going to do following the scene. You're going to be doing the right thing. So am I. I'm going to be reporting to the oceanographers, a place that you guys still have a shark problem, because I'm not convinced." Again, you and I talked about this last time that the mayor really, it was a real simple thing. Just tell everyone to clear off the deck, because it wasn't ideal. Like cut the shark open and let the boy spill out. It's not ideal, but especially in front of the grieving mother. But clear everyone out, then do it, just to make sure you got the right shark. But I love that Hooper here saying, "Well, look, you guys still have a shark problem," and Brody here is still at the same time. He's like, "Well, he's like, why do you have to?" Basically, he doesn't want him to do that, but he knows absolutely he should do that. And he's like, by the end of the scene, Hooper's convinced him that absolutely, I'm the chief of police. We're going to do what needs to be done here. I'm tired of innocent people getting hurt. We're going to affect change here. But I'm not right. I can do anything. I'm the chief of police. Good scene. Yes, we have the big old shark cutting scene. One of the biggest misconceptions of parody, too. Like, they always think Jaws ate the license plates. And again, it's not Jaws, it's the tiger shark.
Tiger sharks are known as the garbage disposals of the sea. They eat pretty much anything except humans.
Yeah. As well, they're kind of...
Actually, regular sharks really don't eat humans that much. More people die from vending machines than actual sharks.
What?
More people are killed by vending machines falling on top of them than sharks.
Oh god, okay.
Really?
You know what I'm reminded of? I'm reminded of C-Lab, where that one guy, the vending machine falls on him when all the other people are out. Tell me some other person remembers C-Lab, please. No? Nobody? Just me?
I've seen people get killed by vending machines, but not that one.
Okay, anyways.
I've seen Ernest get a vending machine come on top of him in comedic relief, but...
Breaking Bad with the ATM.
Well, it's an ATM, though. It's not a vending machine.
Well, it vends money. It kind of counts.
Oh, it doesn't count.
I know.
And
It
thus,
is.
thus the red herring ends.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
And a big
Seriously,
problem.
though, I think the tiger shark is one of the better red herrings in cinema because it throws you through a loop. It's like you're so built up with this shark, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, wait, no, hold on, what's going on here?
It was a very well thought out red herring.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's
And
just,
again, this is a great foreshadow here for Dreyfuss again for Hooper about go scuba diving, which is a good setup for the third act.
Now, when they find Gardner's boat, obviously Hooper finds Gardner, but he also had his assistant with him. I'm wondering, like, what happened to him? Like, did he? I'm sure he got eaten, right? Or I thought I heard somewhere that he lived somehow, but I don't know. What do you guys think?
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either.
If you saw him earlier, he was a younger guy, probably around Hooper's age.
Well, yeah, but it doesn't. I don't know. Well, let's see. Okay, so the boat was found. Okay, so Gardner's. Well, I'm saying the boat. If the boat went down, then I guess anyone on the boat would also have gone down. So maybe they were assumed they were eaten. But Gardner's probably the only remains. His head's the only remain left.
Yeah.
That's a safe.
Yeah, at least as far as we know.
Yeah, as far as we know, I mean, there's a slim chance they could have swam away, but I mean, with Jaws in the water, I doubt it. But yeah, this is a good scene here. Just and coming up, by the way, when he suits up and goes underwater, that is actually done. And again, big hero to the movie, Verna Fields in her pool, because she was a good friend of Spielberg's. Basically, she was a friend of the whole Spielberg generation. She did editing for him, Lucas, Francis Ford Coppola, the whole kind of the '70s directors gang. And basically, when they find Ben Gardner coming up. They're in her pool, and to make it look all murky underwater, they put milk in the water. Little tidbit I kind of like, so the fact that, that's how you get murky water. Okay, put milk in the water. Okay,
whenever works practically.
Oh, and also it was the last thing shot because Spielberg wanted to get like kind of one last jump scare in there for the folks. So he just kind of but we need one more scare, and they did the pool thing. He's on the fly. Literally, she was editing the movie right next door to inside the house, and said, "Go outside the pool, shoot this last scene." It's a boat. It's the boat, the head, and him in the water. It's all it's there. It's just, I guess it's a big pool.
Yeah, that or just cleverly edited to make it look like a big pool.
No, certainly. And again, who better to edit than?
And here's a little fun fact. Ben Gardner's boat was actually featured in the Universal Jaws ride until it was removed in 19 what year was it? 2005. It was painted blue in 1981 and then removed in 2005. But that's just a little fun fact there.
Again, I love the atmosphere, and you're getting some great Spielberg. Spielberg has a love of great lighting. We know, especially in Jurassic Park, he loves kind of good spotlights and flashlights.
Spielberg, he does the lens flare in a classy way, where J.J. Abrams, it's like J.J. Abrams kind of tries to milk Spielberg in that way, but he goes a little over the top with it.
To be fair, he's been easing up on that lately.
Yeah, I agree. Force Awakens, I was really worried about it, but it really wasn't prominent in that movie at all, so fair enough.
And he's acknowledged that, too. He knows it's part of his style, and I think he's just self-aware of it. He's starting to kind of ease up on it. But
Spielberg really does that. Spielberg has a thing for light reflecting off of water.
Yeah. And this shot coming up, we were talking about it some other time, but the under the boat, the boat that Brody's on, you'll notice like it has this really weird kind of gel-like lighting on the bottom. It looks really nasty. It's like really eerie.
Well, it is the ocean after all.
It is. I'm just saying, it's like it always kind of stuck me. Oh my god, that kind of shade of like it's like a gelatin sort of color, like those yellow circles on the bottom of the boat there.
Well, I'm sure the lights are illuminating them are yellow too.
Yeah, certainly.
Yeah.
I'm saying it looks
Maybe they aren't. They're white there.
So I mean, this might be. I guess I don't know. There's a chance this might be the pool. They might shot it at night. Maybe that's why it's. I don't know. It could have been a night shoot at the pool. It wasn't specified, but they put milk in there to make it look murky. Anyway, so yeah, there we go. It's like inside the tank of the editor's, the pool of the editor's house.
And that right there is, in my opinion, the scariest jump scare in the whole frickin' movie.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you watch, I forget which behind the scenes like documentary or something it was, where a crew member, or I forget who it was, maybe it was Spielberg, who said that an audience, someone he went to, jumped out of their seat
Right.
at this. Yeah.
You know what? Let me explain to you why it's so effective. It's so effective because up until this point, we've established the rules of when the horror's going to be, and that's when we see that underwater perspective of Jaws with the music and everything.
Right.
And that jump scare with the body comes out of nowhere.
And
So
actually,
it's like up until this point, we've been conditioned with that music, and the underwater and the music is like the most fascinating device in the movie for me. It's like it's a science. Spielberg got it down to an absolute science with using that for suspense.
actually, in the third act, until the third act, it's actually rare. I don't know if it's for every moment in the third act or if it's just the initial moment in the third act. When Jaws appears, there's no music. It's like now it's like completely like now there's no civilization around him. It's like more dangerous. Like you don't even hear the music when he first appears.
It wouldn't be nearly as effective without the music.
No, I'm saying it's like more of like now you're so used to it, now you're expecting it, but when he doesn't have it, it's like even more terrifying. It's like now he's surprising you, now you're in his element.
I'm talking about like in those scenes where it usually does appear.
Well, yeah.
But without the clever lighting and the stage effects, it would almost appear to be cheesy.
Well, yeah.
But Spielberg pulled it off in a way that made it be suspenseful and terrifying.
Well, certainly. Oh, so again, here we have the mayor. And again, the mayor, again, we've seen as a fully fleshed out character. Again, before we have this bit, again, like he was saying, he's apologizing for him taking the brunt of being blamed for the Kittner boy's death. But,
Made, God forbid.
What?
The mayor could definitely be like an over-the-top kind of cartoony villain sort of character. But no, it's like what I love about the mayor is, yes, he is absolutely in the wrong, but you can totally sympathize with him. It's like, I love the angle of this being set on the 4th of July and all of the holiday, you know, all the economy that it's going to bring to the holiday and everything like that, you know, the economic boost. And
in the town hall scene, they mentioned, like, taking 24 hours off is like 3 weeks into...
that's more important than ever, so...
It's like a 3-week dent in the economy if they don't have 24 hours on the beach. I mean, imagine what, like, you know, all of July gone, especially the 4th of July gone, is going to do to them. Because remember, like, Brody's like saying, well, what about August? You know, we can still salvage August. It's August. And again, like, he's trying to direct it to vandalism. You know, we need to focus on vandalism, not. You know, I want you to find the vandal, not the shark.
Right.
Like, what? And again, I love Dreyfuss is so brilliant in this scene. It's kind of the one. Dreyfuss had a kingship over the one-liners in this movie. He really did. Like saying, "I'm not this man. This man's trying to line up to be a hot lunch."
But damn, it's lunch!
You know, instead of like the whole like eating. It's an eating machine. Seriously, he's just the way Hooper goes in this thing is always really memorable. It's always kind of this great like that sign. Those are the correct proportions. What you're dealing with here is actually an eating machine. You do not want to. You want to deal with this thing again. This gives us a smile. Like all these little smiles of these. Like Brody's just like rolling his eyes, like and giving a sigh of like, "Oh, these idiots don't get it." But you know, he's the guy bringing levity into it again. I think Gottlieb probably wrote the most for Hooper. I'm getting a sense of because he brought in the most.
I think Hooper was probably Gottlieb's character. If he was, yeah. If Gottlieb probably got a taste for anyone.
It's like Milius was probably Quint because he has the most quotable kind of good dialogue lines,
Right,
and you have
right.
I guess Sackler was probably more of kind of the dramatic and being a player, kind of more of the dramatic kind of like Brody stuff worked in there. If I were to guess the breakdown, that'd be my guess. But yeah, just like him kind of making fun of these political figures. We're like, you don't see the idiocy of like, you're going to let all these people become lunch, right? You realize that. And again, also, speaking of our writers, like Carl Gottlieb, we mentioned this last time, like when they were taking pictures of the shark, which we just saw them as they were walking by, like they were trying to capitalize on the fact we caught the quote-unquote shark. Yeah, we caught him. We're taking pictures of it. We're trying to turn this tragic. 2 people died. Forget that. We caught a shark. That's going to bring people
I
in.
love how happy-go-lucky this montage is compared to the panic that's going on in the room.
It's like great subtle setup for it. You know, it's like it's like the happiest thing. If you just walked into the movie at this point, it's like you get the whole experience of the first act all over again. You know,
It's like the dinner dancing onto the table.
yes, it's like it's the be our guest moment of the. Seriously, we just play be our guest over this, but you know, Jaws is
Now
like
I
is
just the shark from Finding Nemo singing "Be Our
yes.
Guest."
Okay,
Sure.
that's a lot.
Like
of
Richard
people.
drives
I
just.
love how it plays in the scene where people, in spite of there being a huge crowd, they're still kind of a little nervous to go in the water.
Oh yeah. Again, there's a great bit later on. Again, the mayor just kind of clinching it there when he's oh, 3D shark. There's some foreshadowing.
Right.
Jaws 3D.
The
The
quote
shark
Marty
still looks
McFly.
fake, Dragon. Shark
Oh,
still
actually,
looks fake.
Wait. The quote
Yep.
Marty McFly. That shark still looks fake.
Actually, now that I think about it, oh my god, it's like shooting at a shark, killer shark. Actually, might be some also set up for later on when our guys are shooting at him on the boat. Man, this film is so brilliant. Just rewatching, you find so many little things. It is.
No, I hear you. Totally hear you.
So yeah, again, I love this though. So the mayor told Brody, just take whatever, do whatever it takes. But we are opening on the 4th of July. Like Brody has done literally as much as he, and we see this visually. He's done literally as much as he can. He's called in the Coast Guard. He's called in every single person. He's like helicopters are going over the thing, and he's done everything he could. It's like the old joke I used to make about Jim Gordon's. Like they could exist without Batman, but they'd take a whole entire SWAT team just to take down one villain. Essentially, this is the same thing. To take down one shark, you need the entire Coast Guard and all these armed guys.
So, in my opinion, this might be the most dickish thing the mayor does, is coaxing these people into the water.
Yeah, exactly. He knows there's a shark out there. At least he's getting freaking business.
It's like he's been told directly.
Yeah, you're
There's
right,
a
Dan.
chance.
He's getting business. Like, the people are here. It's like, what does it matter to him? It's probably beneficial to him that people are worried. And it's like, look, that's like a brutal shot right there, the family standing up, and then you don't even see the fucking kids until the kids stand up. So it's just like all of them are just going into the.
Again, that's the conflict. That's so great about the conflict, though. The mayor is like, he's so. Again, on some level, it's like, yeah, we want to, he's trying to keep it the positive thing, and he's just trying to encourage people, again, get the economy going. But at the same time, it's such a horrible, horrible mistake. It's like children.
It's like one family goes in, and then it's just like.
Yep.
Just
No
all
family
hell
comes
breaks
out.
Open.
All hell breaks loose, pretty much.
Oh
after
god.
that.
Absolutely. And again, oh god, and we saw what happened to the last kid on a raft. We know this is not going to end well.
This is not gonna go.
Actually, you'll notice in the panic scene, it's really funny. I don't know if you guys noticed. There's like a guy literally, he knocks over children on their rafts to steal them. Like the two main kids, like the most prominent kids. When we see our guys running back to shore, you'll notice 2 kids get knocked off, and the big guy takes their raft and swims on it. Again, I love the danger here, though. Again, this is Brody taking a chance, a smarter chance than the mayor here. Where again, I love this though. Again, Brody being a good father, you're saying. Telling his oldest son here, just put in like the safer pond at least. I mean, if you're gonna go, I don't want you to be afraid of the water, but at least do the safer water.
Now, how is that a safer water if Jaws can still get in there? I don't get that.
I think the idea is like
assume that Jaws is gonna go for like the area with the most people, really.
Yeah, that's the clever thing.
Yeah,
but it's like
yeah.
it's like Jaws is so crafty. He's going for like kind of the less ice again.
Jaws is a fucking intelligent creature, man. That's what makes
I mean, if you think about it, Jaws he is able to manipulate ships. He probably sees all the ships in there, so he knows I'm going to go to the less populated area. If there's like a rock barrier or something, he's probably pounding through it on the other side. Like a bridge or
he's playing games with the orca by the end of it with those barrels. You know
so
what I mean?
it's so psychotic what he does.
He is straight up fucking with them.
It's like Hannibal Lecter. It's like Hannibal Lecter as a shark.
And you know who would play him in the remake BlueDragonFive?
Let me guess, Ben Affleck.
Ben Affleck.
You and I, Kevin Smith would say Ben Affleck. You and I would say Bryan Cranston. We know.
I still say Ben Affleck. Kevin Smith put it in my mind. I want to see it. I want to see Ben Affleck.
Cranston's always my guy, my go-to casting.
I mean, I could just see Affleck like motion capture like Jungle Book style, where the shark slightly resembles Affleck's face.
That'd be terrifying.
So here we go. Here's the water box shot, and again, you'll notice So right here, they're going by the formula. If you don't hear the music, it's not the shark, but we're still having that shot. So suggesting shark.
Absolutely, Dragon. I'm glad you bring that up. It's like this film plays so well with the formula. It's like we don't hear the music, but we do see the POV. So at this point, our senses are just kind of like, okay, what the hell's going on? Like. And of course, there is a big panic, so it's great. Oh man!
And again, brilliantly later on, when you're in the shark's element, when there's no civilization around, he can surprise you when he feels like it. And that makes it when he swims up. It makes it more. It puts you on your guard when you think, okay, I know how it's going to go. We'll know when the shark's there. No, you don't.
Hey, this guy here.
So we got coming up here. These two kids are about in the next shot, I think, of people fleeing. I think that might have been the producer, by the way, the guy in the white hat. I could be wrong.
Owned. Just.
Okay.
I thought for a split second some people were gonna get fucking trampled in this scene.
Oh, again, you're gonna see children have the raft stolen. Like pink and blue or pink and purple bathing suits, I think. I don't know. It's yeah, they're all fleeing back, and again, more kids on rafts is like the visual omen of death. See these two kids right here, the boy and the girl. Just watch this big guy just took the raft. Again, look, it's like women like holding her child, like I scream at the top of her lungs, are all swimming back. Just swim, swim. And again, this is also greatly foreshadowed with our two fishermen. We saw them panicking. Remember, like, swim back to shore.
Oh yeah.
Now we see the wide scale panic of that.
Oh, this guy here.
Oh, this is the trampling thing you're talking about. That guy got trampled. He had to be dragged back.
Right, that's what I'm saying. It's
I love this
horrifying.
detail though. See our guys like just showing kind of our beach going kind of like the guys manning the fast food stands on the beach or whatnot. Like they're helping people out. And those are some stand up guys, the guys in the white ties and suits, like kind of your Johnny Rocket looking guys.
Mhm.
Speaking of food, we have our Jaws reel that is not in fact Jaws. And I love this thing. The kid he made me do it.
Okay, Spielberg, if you were to go back and do this, like, say, in the mid-2000s, he would have edited out all those guns.
Would have made them all flashlights.
Yeah.
It would have been actually night in the George Lucas version of this movie. It would have been night, and he would have had them all with flashlights.
Oh, God. Oh, God.
Kids are being dragged out here. And again, it's like your guard is off, and now the real thing. Actually, this guy coming up, he had a much more gruesome death. I did see this deleted scene. I've only seen one deleted scene from Jaws, and it's been
this one could have been a lot more gruesome.
Yeah, do you remember what it was specifically? Because I remember it was like, look.
I remember it was this guy spitting blood on the camera.
Yeah, so this guy coming up here. So again, Michael's in the pond. We learned from Gary there. So. We're going over to check out the kids because he knows in the pond. There's this kid's, and oh boy, we hear the Jaws music, and that's not good. I love this though. Sorry, there's Shark. Yeah, there he is.
I love how you briefly see the fin, you briefly see the tail, you get like just the vaguest hint of it, and yet you're like, oh shit. There it is.
Okay, and see, this guy here, Tiki. This is the guy, the kind of friendly neighbor guy, I guess. He was basically kind of did. It was a bit of a heroic sacrifice too. He was like kind of almost like helping the kid in his last moments.
No,
but
you're
like
absolutely right. It is a heroic sacrifice because he is literally like in the shark's line of sight like before the kid. So
yeah, but like before it was like it was more heroic and more dark because he was like kind of ushering the kid out before he was like being killed on the surface almost.
And that was actually the first time you can actually see the shark physically.
Oh yeah,
right. It's a quick flash, but it's like you're like, oh god, oh man.
It wasn't just the leg before. It was like you got to see him get like being dragged like a corpse on top as he was kind of saving the kid.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he was like pulling the kid with him.
Yeah, that's the thing. So again, our kid.
They pull the kid out, you see the emphasis on his legs. I think that's one of my favorite details.
Also, I just love that it's kind of it passed. I just kind of noticed this for the first time. I love that the Jaws music was kind of blaring at full blast while our hero was kind of like running towards it. You know, so that was kind of really nice. And we see like him kind of running towards to save his son there. So it's really nice. So again, kind of making up for the Kittner lad. Mm-hmm. In some ways, kind of making up for like he's trying to get there in time this time around. How dark would it have been if he actually died?
It would have been pretty damn dark.
I mean, the poor other Brody lad.
Love the shot from the pier where it's just like, oh, that son of a bitch is out there somewhere. I don't know where, but.
Oh, yeah. You know, I love coming up here again. This is absolutely. Yeah, I'm sorry, I know I keep breaking my rule here, but absolutely coming up here. This is exactly what Gordon would do in the hospital. Exactly. You pull the pause. It's like enough games. You're doing this now.
He's like,
right.
That shark almost killed my son. It's go time.
Yep. And again, I love the mayor. The mayor comes around here. He's kind of realized that he has kids too. But again, at the same time, he's still trained as a politician. He's kind of working through his mind like how to spin it. But then he realized like he's in shock at the same time. I love that Vaughn's played in that scene though. It's just like he's processing it while he's like cowardly as a politician. I mean, we could spin this way, but at the same time, like, morally, he's in conflict with himself. That's how he's playing, so he just doesn't know what to say. That's why he's smoking in the hospital. But again, it was less of a thing back then, too. That's why there's smoking in the hospital. But you know what I mean. I love this too. This is Brody kind of staking his claim. This is a real good setup for third. I know he keeps saying good setup. It really is. It is. It's where he says, we're staying here because he wants. It's gotten personal. He went after his son. It's gotten personal. He's going after that shark now. Again, the mayor. Again, he's not just like a black and white. He's not a cartoonish villain like you said. He's not a cartoonish villain. He's actually a family man. He's now realizing the error of his ways. He's getting there.
Yeah. Look at him. He's completely distressed.
Absolutely. I love the curtain idea, too. It's like separates them from the world while they're having this private conversation, though it's not that private. So that, he came up with the August thing, not Brody. So he's like, we can start in August. I was acting in the town's best interest. Again, it sounds like such like a politician. You just want to slap the guy sometimes. Again, you got it so accurate. Again, politicians sometimes, the worst politician is the one that has a point.
Yeah.
Again, it's the way you don't see processing like this these days. You don't see processing enough like this, except on like something like Breaking Bad. You don't really get good character bits like this.
Just to throw this out there to add some comments. I love in the Hollywood Studios tram tour. The driver says when they pass the diver out in the lake, he says, "George, he had a lot of guts," and there they are as they're coming out of the water.
Okay, so I love this little touch of Brody and Quint being the Quint being the alcoholic, and then Brody like taking the small, modest sip of the alcohol and then spitting it out.
I love that he also, it's not just that, he warns, because again, they were bonding over wine earlier, he warns him, no, this stuff is really bad, don't try this.
Right.
So as he warns Hooper coming up. So we definitely see in this scene all the shark kind of parts and the bones here, that this guy is definitely trained at killing sharks. But yeah, as I want to mention, I love the transition to this scene too, of like kind of Brody walking away defiantly, or like kind of walking away with purpose to find Quint, and then we just suddenly cut to him meeting Quint with Hooper in tow.
It's also kind of funny on how these two guys would actually argue on set off camera.
So these two guys, the reason they were arguing, by the way, they come from two different acting schools, essentially, because remember, our guy's kind of like the hard-drinking kind of Irish actor. Well, I'm sorry, English. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
The hard-drinking, method actor. That's what Robert Shaw was. But oddly enough, the movie that he was so paranoid over, The Apprenticeship of Denny Kravitz, the reason he took on the movie, actually, because when it turned out to be a big success, he got a little too big for his britches. Richard Dreyfuss, so he was bragging about it so jokingly, constantly bragging about it, though, and then Shaw, being the classically trained actor, he kept mocking him. That's what started the rivalry. And then he kept like giving little barbs at him here and there. Like the favorite one that's I heard on the A&E thing was "Mind your mannerisms." He'd say whisper that to him right before they rolled film. It's like, mind your mannerisms.
And it really taps into, because they're arguing on and off camera, so it really helps, I'm sure.
It feeds into the dynamic so because right here, the whole handshake thing. Yeah, again, I love visually that we see Brody's kind of in the middle there too. Like he's not in between these two guys. I mean, he's not in between their. I'm sorry. In a way, they're all kind of in the middle of each other's on a spectrum,
Triangle of trouble.
Oh yeah. And Quint's trying to establish some dominance here. And again, Brody's been very accommodating. I've always loved that Quint kind of took Brody under his wing. He has a lot of fondness for the chief. Again, one of the reasons I really like Brody as a kid is like, oh my God, he has like kind of a friendship going on with Quint there. He was always nice to the chief.
And then meanwhile, Quint and Hooper are definitely like the odd couple of the movie.
Absolutely, they're the odd couple of the other ones. Again, they're
the two that you would want to see renting an apartment with each other, and just the hijinks that would come out of that.
Then again, like Quint, there was like a brief buddy.
He likes an Oscar go fishing.
Yep.
There's the orc. Well, real quick, guys, before I forget about it, I just want to mention, the way they found Brody Roy Scheider. They originally were considering Charlton Heston and all that stuff, and Spielberg was so desperate at a party because all of Hollywood kept throughout the whole process of making this movie. Whenever you go to a party or like a little gathering, they always say, "Oh man, Spielberg's career's over." They're saying this movie's a disaster. So he's like in distress one night. He's like, he runs and he just bumps into Roy Scheider, not realizing who he is from the French Connection. He says, "Oh yeah, he says, what's wrong? What's going on?" He says, "Oh, well, I'm trying to make a movie and I can't find the right person to play one of my main guys, Brody here. Man, I want to do Charlton Heston. He's not right for it. I can't find the right person." Basically, he offers help like an angel, almost saying, he says, "Well, I'm an actor. I can do it for you." He says, "Really?" It's like it was the most adorable thing.
Puppy dog.
Yeah, and again, it's like it's just the likability of that guy.
Spielberg really was like a lost puppy dog throughout a lot of this production.
Yeah. And again, very much like Brody, he's in over his head. He runs into a kindly finger like Quint here. It's like someone's going to help him out. You're in dire. It's going to be insane. It's going to be crazy, but I'll help you out. Okay. At the same time, he's got kind of his producers embodied by Hooper. Like, we know we have a plan, we have a calculated plan. It's not going to go as planned, especially with all this craziness on my opposite here, being Quint represented.
These guys could really fit into Moby Dick.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. And the ending of the book is really modeled after Moby Dick with Quint.
Sure. And I think a lot of the story in general is very much Moby Dick, especially just the whole idea of Quint. Like you said, Dragon, just Quint's story in general is very Captain Ahab.
Later, like at the end of the book, it was pretty much like stabbing really was kind of the shark's end, pretty much. Like Quint did actually doing the shark.
From hell's heart, I stab at thee with my last breath. I spit my last breath at thee. That's the famous line from Moby Dick.
Well, a little more show, don't tell, but yeah, you got a point.
It fits into this. It definitely fits into this kind of commentary.
Very true. Yeah, I love this though. She's just kind of hearing like her husband's going off to do a very dangerous thing. He's out of his depths. Like just kind of this newcomer to the town, wrapped up in all this craziness, and she's still hoping for the best, while hearing like kind of this salt-worthy pirate almost, like getting his boat ready for a venture.
And I like how it goes through the shark's jaws as it's like getting out of their boat.
And in the third act, it's a long third act.
This is the music I was talking about. This kind of like jaunty little, flute-led melody of like, oh, we're just going out to sea. It's so fun.
And I like how it like focus on their boat going through the jaws.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Signifying that they're gonna, imperil.
There the barrels.
Oh, those famous barrels.
Oh, yeah. So this isn't the chum scene.
Seriously, like this scene sets up absolutely everything we need to know about the next hour of the movie.
Oh yeah. And again, all the stuff that's been set up before culminates in this long third act we got going on. Again, I would argue just absolutely when they're on sea, it's a third act, but it's a long third act. It's like 40 minutes.
Yeah, I would say the low of the stories is probably the second beach attack where the sun almost gets.
Yeah. Again, it's like the camaraderie that's formed between. Again, our dynamics are just so strong on this boat. Again, this is the movie in itself. It's almost like a stage play at sea.
Quinn chugging the beer.
Yep. Again, we have kind of our expert fisherman with the guy who's actually kind of the college boy version of that. And we have, we got Brody's just kind of like your blue collar working schlub.
This is compressed air, very important.
Yeah, Spielberg came up with this one.
The styrofoam cup.
Yeah, he came up with he suggested the styrofoam cup. Now there's
they're the air tanks.
Oh yeah. Compressed air. And oddly enough, speaking of compressed air, that's how they got the shark to work. So the shark, the mechanically difficult shark named Bruce, again, it worked fine in the tanks, the freshwater tanks at Universal, but when it was in the water, the salt water messed with the mechanisms that broke it. And like, salt, water does conduct electricity. That didn't help either. So again, a lot of broken mechanisms. Like every day the shark did not work, hence the whole documentary called The Shark is Still Working. Because they chat over the horns and everything. The shark is not working, the shark is not working.
And that's one of the main reasons. And that's also one of the main reasons why he constantly hides the shark.
Absolutely. Again, the Hitchcockian solution, because he was a big fan of Alfred Hitchcock. That's where he got that one. Basically, the solution to the mechanisms was a compressed air blast. That's why if you ever look in the making of in the shark, you always hear these loud kind of hissing noises when the shark moves, because that's compressed air moving instead of mechanisms and electricity.
That's one of the reasons why he hid the shark majority of the time, because first of all, it wouldn't work and it didn't look convincing a lot of the time of the way it was filmed. So he came up with the idea to use the Hitchcockian idea and hide it.
And the biggest thing that really confirmed that really made him feel uneasy during the film was that Time magazine. They had like some, not Time magazine specifically, it was sold to Time magazine. They had some photographers snuck in one night and they took pictures of the shark while it was exposed, and they got him really, because he was convinced that if they thought the shark was fake, it would have killed the movie. So when that was on Time magazine, he was flipping out and panicking. I love this though. Just like while no one's aware of it, he's reeling up again. It's like the camaraderie he's building here, of like tying the right knot, and as he's like, it's like, hey, I got it. And in the meantime, he's like, he's suiting up. He's like getting strapped into the chair. It's like they build the tension so well. It's like the music's starting, and it's like, oh boy, it's like slowly gearing up. And it's like he's loading the gun right now, essentially.
Raising his feet.
Yeah. Again, I just love it. It's like you have such a pleasant moment of him. Oh, I'll tell you how to tie that one, Chief. And again, I love
how Roy Scheider's just like, hey, I got it.
Yeah, but I love that too. It was just like earlier on, it was just as Hooper was chewing him after like not tying it right like that. And now it's like saying, no, don't worry, Chief. I'll tell you how to do it. Just ask me if you want to learn how to tie something. He's been real nice to him. Here we go. Here's our three guys facing the beast. And I love all the little details. Quinn is such there's so much excellent fisherman jargon in this thing, like little tricks too of pouring water on the reel so it doesn't snap or break or get too hot or anything. You tell him get behind him, duck his head, make sure he doesn't get caught in the thing. Later on, we see what happens when you do get caught in the ropes, and it's very dangerous. And he's just chewing out Hooper, calling him an idiot. And then, by the way, Dreyfuss, they tried having Dreyfuss drive this boat, and he kept crashing it.
Into what?
Well, I mean, but before they're not actually. There is some land nearby, but I mean, saying some shots there is land, and a lot of shots though, because again, they kept worrying about the shark break-ins. So, I mean, there is. Oh, there are other boats too. I mean, there are other boats on the other side.
Oh, that's true. There are other boats around it, the crew and stuff. All right, yeah. Which, by the way, actually led to, well, I'll tell you when the barrel thing happens.
Again, this is where Jaws is the goddamn, Hannibal Lecter serial killer happens. A whole bit with him going under the boat.
Oh, yes. Oh, God, I can't go. It's so chilling.
He's gone under the boat.
Because when you hear, when your grizzled fisherman is now filled with fear, or not fear, then surprise, just telling you, she's gone under the boat. And it's just being so, perplexed by that, you're in trouble. And your shark expert, hands-on shark expert, is, yelling at you on top of his lungs, put your gloves on right now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God. You're in for some trouble. And again, Hooper here, the college boy, according to them, is saying, no, it's probably a manta ray or something. The high-tension piano wire like that, it's not
right.
It's not a manta ray.
It's not a minute is wasted from the time these guys get on the boat. It's they are dealing with this thing right from the get-go.
Yeah. And again, it's in some way, it's the shark is just kind of representing kind of the difference. It's kind of like the tension amongst these three guys is embodied in the shark itself. It's feeding. It's kind of like the Ahab and the whale thing that's been mentioned. It's like your emotional feelings are fueling your hatred pursuing this thing, or all your feelings in between pursuing this thing are feeding it itself. That's why it's so unstoppable.
Oh yeah.
Game fish, marlin, stingray. It wasn't Mr. Ray, it wasn't Albert Brooks, it was a shark. It was Affleck shark.
That Affleck shark would be terrifying.
At the same time, it feels kind of
reason.
it is mostly the Odd Couple, but at the same time, there's like a hint of kind of All in the Family, you know, between like Archie and the Meathead. You know, like Quint may sound like Archie Bunker, but you know he's a smart guy.
Yeah, in a way.
It's just like him telling him like all your college studies, and you just can't admit that you're wrong. And he's kind of right. Kinda.
Well, that's the thing that's so good about it.
Sorry, just Dreyfus is being really charming right now. He's just like, aye, sir. I think the moment's coming up. I can't take this abuse no longer. Here we go. I think it's coming up here, right? These are some beautiful shots, and again, you gotta remember, they have to wait for the sailboats to clear these shots before they can film this.
Yeah.
You didn't have, like, the matte paintings back then. You couldn't just have, like, a glass thing inserted, and this is before then.
There's one 3-hour tour I don't want to be on. When no one watched Gilligan's Island?
Oh, no, I got that.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that Brody's just kind of like the best first mate ever to Quint here, but at the same time he's a little bitter. He's getting the crap jobs quite literally. He can't steer the boat. He's got to, you know, he's got to scoop the chum out, which of course leads to the most historic moment in all of cinema.
But he's the first one here to see the shark, as we're about to see.
Yep, one of the most historic. Again, there's no music here when it happens. It's a complete surprise.
Let me know exactly when it happens, guys, because I'm at that point.
Right now.
Hey.
Guys, I don't know. It's like I'm having a hard time syncing up.
But look, he hasn't said the line yet. He's now backed into it's 1:21:23. Right now.
We're gonna need a bigger boat.
Bingo.
Okay, this is
Famous
the
line right there.
Get, I guess, hopefully.
And again, just completely came out of nowhere. Again, you're completely off your guards. Like most things, just shoveling chum there. And again, our guy doesn't even see it before it just like creeps. Like again, are the two enemies of this movie? Literally, it's Brody versus the shark. That's what this movie is. It's Brody. I know it's all three guys. And it's like the whole town versus the shark. But it's really, at its core, it's our guy who's afraid of water and afraid of sharks versus the shark.
Absolutely.
You know, like a moment they don't even get at each other. It gets like a last minute look at them. You know. And here now the music's kicking in.
The shark was like, "Hello."
And again, this is I don't know if this is the full thing or if it's just like kind of the top part they built, because they built like a top part with the fins on it. Like a fins, I presume a little bit of flesh underneath there, so I don't know how much of that full shark is there. And again, they're using it just enough to get by. You know, it's just enough to convince you that it's there without showing you too much. Again, this is something like it's putting you in the mindset if you were out at sea and you didn't see the full shark, like you obviously wouldn't see the full shark if you were on a boat, what you would be seeing from the surface onward, which is just more terrifying and realistic, you know?
And the shark's teasing them. The shark's messing with their heads.
Oh yeah, again, look, I love the tension here. This is very Hitchcockian. It's kind of our guys kind of scurrying on the side of the boats here. That's how you get around, but it's so dangerous with the shark. Could just jump up and kind of pull a Blake Lively, and it's going to take a limb off.
Yeah.
Oh boy, and I love this too. I love Quint talking again. There's some camaraderie there. He's like he's calming down the missus without telling her anything that's going on. He knows like to appease Brody's wife here by telling her everything's fine. Yeah, there's a lot of good humanity on Quint. What?
I said it reminds me of a Bullockism.
Yeah, it is very much kind of like Bullock would do. Yeah.
Oh, well, Fisher, we just brought a couple stripers. We're bringing them in for dinner. We won't be long.
Yeah, it sounds very. Again, it sounds like really he doesn't want to worry her at the same time. So that's the respect he has for Brody, not to kind of make things difficult here or like torture her.
Right, and also he doesn't want Brody himself talking to her because he knows that Brody's just going to be like, I don't know what we're going to do.
Yeah,
he'll here. Yeah.
No women at sea. It's the simple rule.
Now, what they need to do is put some poison in the meat and then give it to the shark.
That would be a good solution.
Well, I don't know. I think Jaws is he's like too powerful. I don't think it'll work because we see him be unstoppable.
Not to mention that Quinn almost shanked him with a harpoon.
That's the thing. We see him get shot so many
Multiple times.
Now, this is one of the great things here, again, where the technology does kind of serve them to a point here, where it's he tags the barrel here. But I love the whole barrel thing was such a brilliant idea, because the idea of just kind of it's a visual symbol of the shark, again, without seeing him, and it's showing the impossible strength of the shark, which again is my debate for the whole poison thing. Many people brought up why don't you just poison the shark and kill him. I'm just saying this scene here just shows you this shark is unstoppable than any other normal shark. It's like 3 barrels are eventually going to be put on this shark, and and the idea of the barrels will make this shark unable to go deep down in the water, but he can still go deep down in the water.
That's true. That's very true. Yeah.
And again, later on, I think he uses the barrels as a weapon too. He uses it against them in a very brutal way.
Right.
I
love how the orca becomes a character in its own right. It starts to sink, and it starts like more and more water starts to get into it.
And again, I love the orca is also a symbol for safety amongst these guys. And again, very much kind of like that Blake Lively movie coming out. Again, you have like a very little patch of land.
I'm excited for that Blake Lively movie, man. I really am.
It's like a little patch of land you can stand on. And essentially, that's what's going to happen to the ship. It's going to make a little patch of ship to stand on. It's like as long as you're on something, you're safe. Because you imagine, again, I love this. They play with you here too. It's like the ship. I mean, it's going to be fine as long as you don't go in the water. You won't be eaten by the shark. But no, if the shark is smart enough and big enough and powerful enough, as we've seen with these barrels, again, it builds up the shark's mystique and the shark's power with the more barrels this thing has tied to it. It's strong enough just to bust through the ship and
absolutely
take your guys down. Well, that's a great shot with Quint there with the gun to the side there, like on a little walkway.
And now they're temporarily safe.
I'm king of the world.
I remember being really frustrated with these moments as a kid, where it's like, but I want to see more of the shark. I don't know, but that's just me being a stupid kid.
I just remember my favorite, again, just being a big Brody fan, I just love the ending of just him going up against the shark.
And this right here might be one of the best character building moments of all
cinema. That's a beautiful shot. Again, Spielberg with kind of the black figures amongst the backgrounds.
Right.
And look at the boat, too. He's even doing the boat. Sorry. Go on.
No, I'm just saying, this Quint speech, I mean, it's just this moment, it's the calm before the storm. It's probably one of the best remembered scenes in the film that isn't "we're gonna need a bigger boat." It's probably the second most quoted scene in the whole movie.
Well, yeah, I remember, Tiki, this was actually really controversial because this was actually the Indianapolis thing that happened. It's a real life thing that happened.
Right.
And it was top secret because it involved the nuclear, because it involved the atomic bombs. Back in the day, it was kind of, I don't know if it was still forbidden by that time, because I know like by the time they talked about the A&E thing, it was cleared, obviously. I mean, the fact that it was mentioned in the movie, probably after that they kind of cleared the air on that. But it was because the whole story is going to just kind of summarize it, because this whole thing was written to be 8 pages, and they had to take it down from 8 pages of dialogue because it was such a moving. Well, scene, because John Milius, he took a run at it with the great dialogue, and then Robert Shaw, he factored in some stuff to kind of make it through Quint, make it boiled down. But before that, let's talk about the scar thing.
Oh, it's just like I said, just this whole thing. It's just character building at its finest. It's a study on character building.
Absolutely. And another thing Spielberg's really famous for is kind of having characters with friendships and camaraderie. Especially E.T. being a big case of that.
Oh yeah.
I mean, even they got drunk together, technically.
Oh god.
They did.
Yeah, you're right.
But I love it still, like they're drinking. I'll drink to your leg. And again, I love the mystique of Brody here. Like, you don't know all the things, but he's like that close to kind of becoming more at one with these guys. But he's the outsider. As much as again, our one outsider is being assimilated to what kind of these 3 guys are the outsiders of the town. Everyone looks at them funny.
And now they're the heroes.
Yeah, again, they're finding a community within themselves here. And Brody's still in this community. He's still on the outside, and we've seen these 2 guys literally kind of the opposite views of each other. Where Brody, he's smack dab in the middle of these 2. Again, everyone's kind of in the middle in this weird thing. It is like the ultimate triangle. They're all in the middle on some angle because they all kind of represent something in the other 2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no.
Like Quint is the fear personified of Brody. If that fear went out of control and just drove him off the deep end. I'm sorry. Go on, Jacob.
I was going to say that it seems like they're all getting on better terms now.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, it's very much the odd couple. It's like they might get under each other's skin, but at the end of the day, they're pals.
Yeah, at the end of the day, man, he invited him.
You're drunk.
Certainly. Like at the end, he invited him to stay after his wife threw him out with the frying pan. You know, he's like, he invited him, says, "You're my pal. I'm gonna let you stay." Not in this context. I'm just saying in the Odd Couple context.
Of course.
Like, I don't believe I don't see. It would be a hilarious sitcom to see Hooper kind of room with Brody. I'm sorry, see Hooper room with Quint.
That's all I'm saying, man. That's all I'm saying. They're totally the odd couple of this movie, for sure.
I've actually seen. Have you ever seen what's the movie? Let It Ride with Richard Dreyfuss.
No, I haven't.
That's a really good movie. He plays kind of a guy just basically kind of essentially it's like he wishes upon a star almost. He prays to God, but it's the same. Basically, he prays that he can have one day of good luck, and he keeps winning all the horse races. It's basically through every circumstance, no matter what happens, he's gonna win, and it's like he's like on top, he's riding the high of like having the best luck in the history of ever for one day.
I'll be right back, guys.
Anyway, so like the moment happened, he hesitated on lifting the scar. I guess I think it just happened. I don't know, it was kind of in the middle of the Odd Couple thing, but Indianapolis thing. Yeah, we should talk about that. Well, yeah, actually, Indianapolis survivors, amazingly, they were very, they owe Robert Shaw a great debt because they were very impressed that he conveyed all the emotions perfectly what they were feeling. He played this drunk in this sequence. So again, whenever you see a cut between him telling a story, there's a chance you have some of the drunk Robert Shaw acting because again, he was drunk. He delivered some lines, but then again, he was drunk. So you can imagine how successful that was. But they played a drunk, and he was drunk, and they kind of cut that together in such an eloquent way. You have like this really fantastic performance here of him talking about like the lifeless eyes, like a doll's eyes, that whole thing. And with the Indianapolis thing, essentially, is what he was saying is like in real life, two atomic bomb. They found two atomic bomb parts from the two atomic bombs. Sorry, there was an explosion, and basically they were told prepare to abandon ship. And imagine how terrifying that is out at sea, prepare to abandon ship with no land in sight. And they're all just they're treading water for days, and they're picked off by many sharks over the course of 5 days. And so from 1,200 men to 316 survivors, watching their friends being eaten and like the parts of them floating to the surface in red water. How terrifying is that? That's what Quint went through, and that's what's so wonderfully conveyed in this scene.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like most people kind of boil this scene down to just the whole doll's eyes thing.
Yeah, it's much more than doll's eyes. I mean, he was, again, thrown into the water, and like, you understand why this man pathologically hates sharks, because he watched sharks, again, essentially the sharks took his sanity. They ate men in front of him and spit out the body parts and let him float for days wondering if he was going to die next. That's why Quint's that's why Quint's on the brink of sanity here. Mm-hmm. Because the only thing to keep his sanity is to go after sharks, and that's crazy. Yeah. And again, I honestly think I say this scene is really well directed by Spielberg too. Again, it's well edited. The scene's firing all cylinders perfectly. Again, shooting it probably was like very uninspiring. It's like, oh my god, it's like he's drunk and it's ruining this one day of shooting. The next day, it's like fine, okay, he cleans up his act. This thing's never gonna turn out right. And the end of the day, turns out brilliant. I'm convinced this is like showing you his credentials for something like Schindler's List years later. I think it really is. It's like him having such a great command over drama and like a little scene like this, little dialogue scene, communicated so much. I would say this is where Spielberg's drama bug was really kind of born in this scene, honestly. The whole film's a drama with a lot of bit of comedy in there, a lot of great kind of summer blockbuster in there too. But it's it was such an impactful scene.
No, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
I'm back.
Now they're starting to sing.
Yeah, this scene is longer than I remembered.
That's what I'm saying. It's the calm before the storm. It serves its purpose in the story incredibly well, I think.
It looks so good, like the nighttime sky out there, and and just the rocking back and forth, and the little light going back and forth too. It looks so realistic. Again, they are out there, and they are actually out there. That's why it looks so realistic. But it plays so well. Again, they didn't really have like kind of I guess they didn't have the green screen back then to do this sort of thing, so they would have to do it on scene to make it look this real. And it's so Spielberg hits this humanity so well. We're gonna see see this in his films coming up, just these human dialogue scenes, and especially like the dinner scene from E.T. when Elliot's talking with his family.
Oh, crap.
Oh, yeah.
And this, oh my god, this is, again, that little blinking light that Hooper tied to, a little tracking beacon thing, a little kind of signal light. It just signals that, oh god, it's coming closer. Even if it's in pitch black night, you know it's coming, and that barrel's on its way. The barrel, the symbol of the shark, again, without the music playing, and automatically. And showing you the shark's getting more powerful with that barrel up there, and he's now pounding through the ship, trying, like, again, happy moment, unsuspecting moment, then...
Alright, clever shark to beat up against the boat when he's banging at the table.
Right.
Well, remember, the sharks can, I believe they set up the sharks can detect vibrations in this. I think it might actually be true, like when people are jostling around, that does signal sharks on some level. Am I right? I think that's how it works.
Sounds right.
It's like the... Hey, how did it work in Jurassic Park? It was heat, right? Heat signal to T-Rex?
Jurassic Park, yeah, it was movement.
Okay, so
it was tracked by heat, I believe.
Okay. Well, it's kind of a similar premise for the sharks. I'm saying it's like movement and vibrations.
A lot of animals can do that, especially aquatic ones.
Isn't that like the misconception of like blood draws the sharks out? It's like it's also movement. I don't know. I'm not a shark guy. Sorry, but aside from this movie, I'm really not a shark guy. Nothing against them. Obviously anything against them because I never go out the ocean.
So this was definitely a scene that they probably shot when the shark wasn't working, and it's like, oh shit, all right, just fire at the barrel, we'll make it work.
Yeah, because they did kind of like what any film really should do, and you always have your backup days in case something goes wrong. You can shoot. Like they shot all of their land stuff, so they ran into a problem. The shark wasn't working every day, so they literally they ran through all their land stuff, every possible thing they could do. When the shark
shooting star back there. Shooting star.
Yeah. Which gets you to a scene where they have to do this sort of thing where you don't see the shark, it's just the barrel.
Now, what if instead of a barrel it was an anvil?
Well, that'd still be terrifying. But do you mean anchor instead of anvil?
Yeah, anchor.
But anchors would sink down to the surface. They need them to be buoyant going up.
Well, yeah, I know, but it would weigh the shark down, pull him down, wouldn't it?
No, because we know this thing's strong, though.
That's the power of Jaws, Andy.
They need to be compelled to go to the surface. They need something to symbol them and pull them up. That's the idea.
I know. I'm just saying, what if that wasn't their intention?
It'd be cool though if they used it like to beat him over the head with the anchor though.
Yeah.
That'd be cool if they feel like they threw him.
I think I feel like there's a bunch of things they're just like not thinking of at all here, like poison for one.
Again, I'm telling you, poison's just to demonstrate the strength of this guy. But yeah, you have a point. I mean, there are a lot of things they could consider. They want to make it dynamic.
Well, I mean, think of if you were in their situation, would you think of all that on the spur of the moment?
Well, I mean, they've been out here for like 2 days now, and they're both shark experts, so it seems like they would have.
They probably didn't think to bring poison.
Well, no. Hooper has he has sedatives. He doesn't have. Does he have poison or is it sedatives?
I'm sure he does have poison.
Yeah, 'cause we know he has like 20 cc's of some crap.
And they could blow up the shark. I mean, there's that too.
Well, eventually, you know.
Yeah, I know eventually, but that's after Quint dies.
Oh, this bit right here. Again, more surprise here. Again, just no, kind of like last-minute music, or if no music at all. It's like a big old surprise cue here. So you can just really, it's dangerous.
And there it is.
That one's not the Jaws theme, but it's just music. It just kind of springs on you.
There we go.
Oh, yeah. So I think coming up is when they. Oh, no, I'm thinking of something. I'm trying to think when the lines are gonna almost kind of clip Hooper's legs off. Oh, we have this bit though. This is where. Oh, this is crazy.
Quint just loses it in this point.
And again, as much as I love that he still has fondness for Brody here, where he says, "Sorry about that, Chief," or he says, "It's just something like he just writes it off as I was a little out of hand." Excuse me, it says, "Excuse me." She hands him the bag, all pleasant and he's like, "Oh, it's great. Now we can't call for backup. Now we're out here alone because Quint just wants to be alone, taking down the shark." He's still being pleasant to him though. He's like,
It is just so greedy. I mean, it's gonna lead to his own demise.
Yeah.
Yeah, it also
back to the noon feeding. Great line. So now we got the theme plan. Again, Hooper's going for that barrel plan, which is a very good plan, by the way.
Hey, Quint basically is Captain Ahab, but with a shark.
Yeah?
Yeah, that's what works so well for Quint's character, for sure. Like you said, it all goes back around to the whole idea of, they cast Robert Shaw because he was more intimidating than the shark.
In my opinion, he's cooler than Captain Ahab.
I've actually read Moby Dick. Captain Ahab is a really cool character. He's told from it's almost kind of like The Great Gatsby, where The Great Gatsby is told from another character's point of view about the main character.
Yeah.
So you get a lot of insight into Captain Ahab in the actual book.
I love that. In many ways, the orca is also kind of a symbol of Quint. That he's pushing it too far. That's why all the smoke's coming out. That's why it's gonna. Yeah. It does represent Quint. That's why the ship goes down.
And his sanity's finally over when he dies.
He doesn't call in for backup. The smart thing to do, like, okay.
Again, this score, this is definitely early John Williams, where it's definitely more kind of it's very just upbeat, and it's not as bombastic as we would see in later John Williams scores. You guys.
I think you're right. I think it was pretty. Again, early on, it's.
Don't get me wrong, it's fun. It's fun more than anything else, and I feel like John Williams
now is the she-Santy thing. Now we have kind of the adventure movie out at sea theme going on here. Yeah.
And the shark is just leading them out further and further.
Which is the plan. Again, the shark is very strategic. He's trying to get them out there away from. Again, they were radio freak. They could call someone on the radio where they were.
Curse you, Affleck!
Yeah, a lot of Mallrats just turn the whole. Mallrats must have done good numbers for Jaws. Just bring it back into public consciousness. Remember Jaws? Because that was the big, the big little proposal, proposing on the ride of Jaws. Imagine how much money that made for that ride.
Mm-hmm.
Well, money it made for the park. But yeah, little despairing little things of the shark. Because it really held it. Oh, this was one of my favorite moments as a kid. I loved Brody shooting. Again, very much like Jim Gordon. As a kid, I subconsciously picked up. It was like a cop with a gun shooting at a shark. I love that.
It's not very effective.
I know, but it was really cool. He was just, he had the pistol handy. When, it was it was a kid thing. It was fun. Still really cool looking though. It doesn't have an effect, but at least he shot the shark. Again, setting up. I think on some level, this could be crazy. I think on some level the shark might remember that he shot him, and that's why he's really going after him so vehemently in the end.
Well, keep in mind, I know we don't really want to talk about the sequels here, but the shark gets more and more insane and methodical about just hunting down the Brody family as the sequels go on. And
Yeah, well, remember, it's the shark's family, technically.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. It's just like the Shark family definitely has a huge vendetta and a Hannibal Lecter style murder plot.
And I gotta tell you though, seriously, out of all the Jaws sequels, seriously, folks, give Jaws 2 a watch because the beginning of that is interesting because Roy Scheider's in that one. It's interesting, good aftermath for that one.
Yeah, I think I will check out Jaws 2. I've seen Jaws 3.
Obviously not as excellently done or as memorable as this one. I'm just saying I think there are a lot of good elements in 2, though. 2 has some good elements. Especially in the beginning of the Act 1 of 2 is really good.
Okay. And Tiki, it's not an underworld crime organization, it's an underwater crime organization.
Yeah.
Actual sharks.
Yep. Oh yeah, it's I'm thinking Shark Tale and the whole, mafia shark thing.
With their fedoras and cigars. Hey, let's go find Brody, eh?
Again, right there, that moment, there's the danger of Jaws almost killed Hooper. There is removing his legs, And here's where the shark gets methodical and insane here, which is turning the boat. Oh god, and I love the scale of the shark. You're seeing how powerful he is just moving. He's now the shark is this unstoppable force. Absolutely now. They're running through our options here. Our guys are in serious danger. And there's that again. The compressed air is now being more and more shoved in Brody's face. It's setup, good setup. Now, that was my grandfather's favorite line, by the way. He still quotes you, the taxidermy man can have a heart attack when he said, "I, bro." He always quotes that one so much.
Do you know who the taxidermy man is, BlueDragonFive?
I have a feeling who it is. Who is it, Tiki?
It's Norman Bates. Oh, joy, Quint, you brought me a shark. Oh, I haven't worked with sharks before, Quint.
Well, actually, it would be. Actually, might be a moving thing of. of Brody. He collected the shark parts and he had them brought to Norman Bates to stuff them together, and then for a shark museum in the name of Quint.
And they're both Universal Studios characters, so they could totally do that crossover.
And you know he would be the new sheriff in one of the Psycho sequels.
Okay.
You know, got a promotion. Got a promotion from chief to sheriff.
That'd be the weirdest crossover ever.
It would.
Jaws meets Psycho.
Again, this movie is Psycho at sea. It's what it is.
Absolutely. It's like
it's as iconic. Seriously, even as a blockbuster, it was iconic as Psycho was. I mean, Psycho, I don't believe was. I don't know if that was released in summer or not, but it was. It was very much in a similar vein. It went over big like Jaws.
I'd have to find some way to include the shark.
Well, I'm saying it'd be an aftermath. Well, White Pine Bay. I mean, there's a bay, right?
The shark returns.
Psycho was released in September, Dragon.
Okay, there you go. Well, yeah, as I'm saying, it was like similar. It felt like a blockbuster, even though it wasn't in the summer, though.
Mm-hmm.
And even though don't get me wrong, this was the first blockbuster. But here we go.
Well, keep in mind, the great thing about Psycho is that it really was a B movie for all intents and purposes.
Yeah, no one thought it was going to be. Same thing with this. Everyone thought this was going to be a B movie also.
Sure.
Again, this has
a lot of movies that were once thought to be B movies have turned out to be great movies.
Yeah, Star Wars was also looked at as like a very low budget flash.
Star Wars is a great example of that for sure.
Let me mention it here. I just want to mention like all the big successes of the '70s that were back to back. What we had is kind of the big blockbuster movies of the '70s. You know, we had '74, we had this, and they're all back to back. '74, I'm sorry, not that. '75, we had this. '76, we had. Wait, no, 74 is Rock. Wait, 74, 76.
Godfather was 72.
That was Superman.
No, 78 Superman.
So that was after Star Wars.
Yeah, 78 Superman, 77 is Star Wars.
Rocky was 77, right? Rocky was the movie that won Best Picture that year. Oh wait, no, I'm sorry. No, it wasn't.
Okay, I think it's I think Rocky was 76, and then this was 75. I'm pretty sure that's how it
won
goes.
Best Picture though.
Rocky was 76. I was thinking of Annie Hall that won Best Picture.
That's how it went. I remember now. That's how it went. So yeah, those are the big movies of the '70s, all back to back. You know, it was really cool. Like some of the coolest lineup of movies you could ever imagine.
The Godfather was 1972.
Yeah, Godfather kind of kicked it all off.
That's cool. Well, yeah, you know what I mean. I'm just saying it's like we're kind of following.
Godfather definitely wasn't as much of a blockbuster, but it's definitely like it. Obviously, it holds up in kind of like the, the history of filmmaking for sure.
And then Part 2 was in '74, so it's right. There.
Well, let me mention this real quick before I know the barrel thing's kind of past, but when they were doing the barrel thing, when they were kind of doing all this barrel stuff, there was another
land there. Oh, just pointing out land there.
Oh, yeah. Well, then again, they're being jostled around, so the sharks pulled them closer to land. But remember, there guys are going to be swimming there towards the end, so maybe that's why.
Maybe go ahead about the barrels thing.
I can buy that.
Well, yeah, the barrel thing though. It's when they were shooting the barrel thing, there was another boat nearby that was like helping out shooting that, and there was a big accident that happened. It was an awesome story. It's the boat when they were pulling the barrel, I guess, or something. They accidentally slammed into the boat, and they took like a chunk of the boat out. So there were two orcas. There were two orcas. One that was meant to sink, which is at the end of the movie, you know, when everything's sinking.
Yeah.
But the main one our guys are on right now, that was not meant to sink. That was the one that went down. And what happened was basically when they took like a large piece of the boat out, pretty much it was like slowly sinking. Like when it capsized, and that one of those shots that just happened when they were like leaning to the side like that. Basically, that shot went on a little bit longer, and then they were going down following that. And I guess one of the shots, like while they're basically it was like that, but I mean when they're shooting, the barrels are being pulled around, then it accidentally slammed into the boat, then it was going down. So they call Spielberg. Everyone's in a panic. Like they have like a boat, a speedboat, towing it back to the land before it sinks completely. Get the actors off the boat. You know, it's like big panic, and Spielberg saying, "Get the actors off the boat."
I remember this. Yes.
Like Spielberg saying, "Get the actors off the boat." All the equipment guys are still in there. Like the film's falling. They're trying to save film from falling in the water. It's all this stuff. One film canister actually fell in the water, but they saved it because they put in fresh water. It was a little process back then. And the sound guy, one of the sound guys, was holding his sound equipment up over his head. And then Richard Dreyfuss loves telling the story. He mentions. the sound guy's like 70 years old. Dreyfus says he's been saved first, and he's telling Steven, the man's 70 years old. And then the guy's holding it, blank the, screw the actors. He uses an explicit, bleep the actors, save the sound department. And then the guy looks up to Dreyfus as he says, come on, Steven, he's 70 years old. Guy looks up to him, has the perfect punchline. He says, well, I guess that's a wrap for sound. That was probably the most chaotic day they've ever had on that set. Then again, you have a shark breaking down every day. Michigan, those were the struggles that Spielberg had to contend with on a day. A boat sinking with everyone on it. Of your 2 boats.
Yeah, it's pretty unfortunate that the one that was supposed to stay afloat was the one that had to go down.
Yeah. And how amazing is it that they turned out this movie in the midst of all of that chaos?
Uh-huh.
It's astounding. That makes this movie even more awesome, you know?
Well, like I said, Dragon, I think kind of like the thesis I was kind of going off of right at the beginning is this movie really did set the bar for a lot of filmmakers. Like, between this and Star Wars, those were definitely the 2 that kind of were like, okay, not only is this an awesome movie, I want to study this, I want to make movies like this myself, I love the process of filmmaking. And this introduced so many people to that.
Yeah.
Like, the way the boat they're on.
I think Star Wars was more on the storytelling end. I think it influenced a lot of people as storytellers. I think Jaws definitely influenced a lot of people from a technical point of view.
Absolutely.
On the what we didn't hear you.
The filmmaking side of it, the production, the tech.
Star Wars was definitely more influential story-wise, and I think Jaws is more influential from like a technical filmmaking point of view.
Craft-wise.
Right, yeah, for sure.
See, now this is a great telling bit right here, just showing you Quint. He's just seen the damage of the shark. Again, Quint is great with Quint's character in his arc. He has made his mistake, and now he's realized his mistake of stranding them out there. And now the shark is pretty much taking on the boat. They're up a creek right now. Now he's considering the whole tranquilizer thing, using the science, because he was blasting earlier in the movie, saying, this blasted technology, it's stupid. Like now they're using this moment here again, even though it's like a ridiculously long third act, it's an awesome third act here, because now like this really again now we have the kind of that jaunty sea music going on here, Tiki, where like now our 3 guys they're working together.
Yeah.
The 3 of them, Brody is really not happy with this plan because he doesn't want to risk his friend Hooper's life here, but he knows it has to be done, and they build this cage and it's like all triumphant, like, hey, we're gonna do this, and we've seen our guy scuba dive before, so we think he might have the chops to tranquilize the shark, because we know we can't kill this thing, we can't fight this thing, we can tranquilize it, but we might be able to make it so we can get it out with our skins. Maybe shoot the thing a few times in the head while it's sleeping.
Speaking of Hooper's life, he wasn't actually supposed to live.
Oh yeah, let's talk about that.
Yeah.
So
he was supposed to go down, and then Jaws was supposed to get him and Quint.
Yeah, you know the story behind this one, don't you?
I don't know the whole story. I just know that he wasn't supposed to live.
I'm going to blow your mind here. So,
all right.
You know who, oddly, a random shark rewrote this basically saved Hooper's life. I kid you not. I'll tell you why. Because they were shooting this in Australia. That's how they phrase it. They started like a shark rewrote the movie. Essentially, that's what happened. So they were out in Australia just getting some shark shots for this scene. They had so this.
You're talking about the only part of the movie that has a real shark in it?
Yeah, so again, in here is like this wonderfully intercut thing. There's an actual shark in the scene coming up.
And it's the only part of the movie that has an actual shark.
So they had a little person in a shark tank cage to make get the scale right so they could actually use a shark to kind of make it look good, because they needed the shark in this one scene in the movie, like when Hooper's going face-to-face with the shark, they needed a shark in the scene. So when they have a little person, they can do all the little tricks they can. They just have like a small diver compared to make the regular, it's an average shark look really huge.
Oh, I remember this, yes.
And what happened was there was a mistake with the oxygen tank. So again, they forgot that he was a little person, but he still needs a full tank of oxygen to breathe, like regular, like a regular size, full size person. So he sucked up all his air when he was panicking when the shark was like bashing the cage. It was really terrifying. And after he got out of the cage was still down there, and the shark got entangled in the thing. So it was rocking the boat, and it was like the tail was like wagging all over the boat. They didn't use that part of it, but still, like the shark down here, all that stuff. So when the shark's thrashing around the empty cage, that's from the real shark, and that's what they used, because he wasn't in the cage, it still worked perfectly for the scale.
Yeah.
But at the same time, though, it was such good footage they didn't want to waste it. So, okay, we'll keep them alive. Basically what they did was they had a shoot where they in a tank at Universal's, wherever you see Dreyfus in a shot in our iconic Jaws head, that's in a tank in Universal. Which again, remember, the shark in the tank in Universal works a lot better because it's in freshwater.
Sure, sure.
So those shots, that's why they wrote his. That's how they got him to be alive in the end. They showed him getting out with the fake shark in there, but originally he was gonna die. He was gonna shoot his death, but.
I wonder what happened to the actual shark that happened. That's in this.
Well, I hear he's got a condo in Florida now. No. Man, how amazing is that, though? You know, shark in some way saved Hooper's life.
And I think he drops this, doesn't he? He drops it.
So like that right there, that's Universal footage. And it's intercut so well because it looks really convincing. It's the only shot where you see the actual shark moving. It looks pretty convincing. See, actual shark.
Yeah.
No, it looks pretty convincing.
Doesn't quite look like the one the fake one, like Bruce. I mean.
No, of course not. But I'm saying it's still pretty impressive. Like later on, when the shark's taking down the cage, that does look very convincing. That looks very much like kind of a Jaws size shot.
Yeah.
Because again, it was so impressive, they had to keep it in there. And that's that one shot where he's like freaking out, the shark charging at the cage. That was not Richard Dreyfuss in that mask. It was like
This one is a real shark, right?
No, that's the fake shark. Fake.
Oh, okay. I thought that's right. That's right.
When the shark takes down the cage, that's all it's real. But right now, all this is fake. And him getting out of there, that's something they have to improvise. That's the fake shark. And that's not Dreyfuss. In those insert shots, that's not Dreyfuss. Because again, it was like a last-minute thing. Oh, how cool that he gets to stab the shark, though. Yeah, everyone gets their licks into the shark. You know, Brody got to shoot it. Quinn's gonna get to stab it like crazy.
That's a fake shark. That's a fake shark.
Okay, wait. It sounds like that episode of Freakazoid. Remember Tiki at the end? We're saying that's the real monkey. No, that's. Hello.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, like the ending of the Freakazoid episode. Anyway.
Oh, that's the real shark.
That's a real shark.
That's all real.
I believe this upcoming shot's a real shark too.
Yep, when it takes the cage down, that's all real.
Yeah, that's.
Yep. See, they also had the above surface shot of like when the tail's thrashing around, but they didn't see that because it would reveal there's no one on the boat. Well, except for our guys, the speedboat instead of the orca. Real.
Swim down.
Right. Almost took Brody's head off there.
No, yeah, that's another real shark.
Yeah, it's good looking shots though, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I think the cage. I forget if they kept the cage going down shots or not. So, I watched it recently. I forget if that was just what I saw, or if they actually. I believe they kept that shot. We have like the part of the cage. Yeah, it's going. It's losing here.
I can't imagine what's going through Brody's head right now.
Not
I mean,
good.
I mean, he's not in there, but there wasn't any blood in the water, so.
Yeah. So yeah, man. On some level, Brody is kind of sad that his friend. He knew it was a risk, and he feels on some level he's kind of responsible for his oh god. It's so
No, this is where things go down.
Oh yeah. So yeah, initially the way it played out, folks, it would have ended here because he would have had. Initially, he had the barrel still tied to him, or they were going to shoot more barrels onto him. And as Quint stabbed him, kind of with a harpoon originally, it was going to be with a harpoon. He stabbed him like Ahab, and though he would have been killed from those stab wounds because he would have been drowned. Oddly enough, he would have been kind of drowned by the barrels while he was suffering the stab wounds. That was a brutal death here. Oh, I got poor Quint. And again, he's seen like the most qualified to take down the shark is now dead, and now Brody is. And how beautiful an idea! Spielberg was a genius for coming up with this. Just this idea of whoever came up with it, because this wasn't eventually. This was just the idea of Brody literally looking eye to eye at this shark, of being now surrounded by water. Now he's on the shark's playing field. Now it's like the ultimate revenge tale. Like, I remember you shot me, and you've been going after me this whole movie.
And how they don't have any music while Quint is dying, while he's being chewed up by this shark, is also just terrifying.
And again, just seeing now
and
he's
this here too. There's no music.
Again, this fake shark looks so terrifying in context. I think you can see Quint's jacket still in there too if you look real close.
Well, it's definitely he's hanging off the shark's teeth there.
And there's the old legend.
His jacket's there too. Yeah.
There's the oxygen tank. You put the compression tank in there. But again, oh yeah, again that barrel's still there, good symbolic barrel. But oh yeah, this seriously, as a kid, this was one of my favorite parts made with because it rooting for Brody. It's like yes, he finally got the shark. Yeah, it's like it's such a great release though. Like it's like the last possible second he takes him down, and then oh yes.
Right before we get to this next part here where Jaws dies, and speaking of Quint's death, they actually had a set a while back. It was like a collector's set. And it was Quint getting chewed up by the shark, and you could take Quint apart, and you could like pull his intestines out and stuff.
Oh God!
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Great Dragon, you know my twisted sense of humor. I would totally.
I know they did Lego Jaws, and recently they did kind of they're doing these retroactive action figures, and they make them look like '70s action figures, like the Star Wars action figures.
Yeah.
But they had a whole set for Jaws, and like a big old Jaws you can feed Quint into.
Yeah, like this Jaws box set. It was like an action figures, and you can probably find it online. It's pretty expensive, I'd imagine.
I hear these stabbing shots are really great here. Again, it's him contending with the shark. It's our main hero kind of confronting his fear here.
Yeah, yeah.
Literally, he's stabbing his fear right in the face. I mean, he should have tried punching it in the nose like Phil did from Hey Arnold.
Yeah, I'm not sure how well that would work out.
No, he would have lost the hand.
As smart as Jaws is, I'm kind of wondering why he doesn't spit out the compressed air.
It looks like it's stuck on his teeth.
That's the thing. He knows he can kill this guy even with something in his mouth like that. Oh, how great was that? Like the bullet whizzing through shot. I know. Again, strategically, he's trying to aim for that thing to kill it here again. I love it's not like by accident or anything. It's like
oh, there we go.
Yeah. Boom.
Boom's already back.
He eventually tried to fight that thing, and Spielberg said, look, it's the last 3 minutes of the movie. I build up all this stuff. No one's going to care if it doesn't work like that. If the compressed air thing wouldn't work like that. Eventually thought he had like a beautiful death for the shark versus this awesome, gory death.
It's reminiscent of the truck death in with the Duel.
Yeah, so if you listen here, Tiki, seriously, if you listen, you're going to hear like a dinosaur from a B movie, a dinosaur giving off a yell, a T-Rex. Now, what happened was when the truck went off the cliff, it made a noise. It had the dinosaur, because basically he kind of imagined it, again, all building Jurassic Park in a way. He used the B movie Tyrannosaurus Rex sound because he just thought he embodied how that thing was a monster, and he homaged Duel again when the tail goes down. If you listen, you probably on a rewatch, folks. You listen for the little dinosaur yell as it goes down. Like,
yeah.
Like T-Rex roar. So I wouldn't be surprised if that also made its way in the cameo in Jurassic Park.
It's kind of like he was fated to do that.
Yeah. And again, hooray! Hooper's alive. It's a happy ending, and we should probably mention too what kind of traditions of Duel. The big traditions started here. Now I mentioned the little Duel factoid, but Spielberg's tradition started because he was afraid by the end. This is like one of the last shots. This was the last shot they did for the movie. Not counting filming, not counting the tanks.
Oh, okay. I know exactly what tradition you're talking about, Dragon. Go ahead.
It all started here, folks. Where he was just so afraid, so wrecked, but like being stressed out of production. It was like a moment of levity. Finally, he was afraid after shooting this thing, the crew guys would throw him in the water. So he flew off. He just set up the shot like the day before or something. He set up like the day of. He set up the shot, and then he left. He'd only told Dreyfuss about this. He left in the. And then they shot the thing. It was like all set up for him, but he never shoot because of this, and because the film was a success, and because what went well, he'd get thrown in the water or anything. Because Jaws was the monumental success it was, he never sticks around for the last shot of the movies filming.
Spielberg, you mean?
Yeah, Spielberg. When the last day of the shoot, he never shoots the last scene because of this movie. It's a famous tradition.
He never shoots the last scene. He's never there.
Yep, he'll set up or have like someone set up for him. He'll never shoot the last scene.
Oh, Spielberg.
But yeah, seriously, fantastic movie. It's just
fantastic ending. I really love the camaraderie that's built between Hooper and
really short credits here.
Yeah, well, Sandy, that's because Lucas actually kind of changed the game when it came to credits by doing the whole Star Wars crawl and then having the credits at the end.
All right, this is before Star Wars, though.
Yeah, that was unheard of, like having credits at the end.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what I'm saying, Dragon. This was before Star Wars, so
I have to say.
credits came at the beginning, and so, you know, we don't really have the credits at the end.
Grossman. Who wants a name like Grossman? Hey, Voorhees.
Voorhees, yeah, I know.
And remember, Jeffrey Voorhees actually went on to produce Sex and the City, the movie.
Peter Benchley even guest starred in this.
Absolutely. So, you know, I'm going to regale you with a nightmare Spielberg had. Spielberg had this recurring nightmare, had various recurring nightmares about Jaws even after the making of this movie, but the one of the biggies he always, and this is such an eclectic thing he mentioned that he had this recurring nightmare of the fourth day of shooting. Like, he was just shooting the fourth day of Jaws, and every time he went to sleep, he was imagining the fourth day of shooting Jaws, which was a nightmare. Like, he mentally going off and being shocked awake, and it was like, it was horrible. That was his recurring nightmare, as various other nightmares. Like, he was chewing celery under his pillow, all these sorts of... It drove him to the brink of sanity. It really did. But again, this movie wasn't made until that editing and John Williams' score really made this movie. That's when it all came together. That's when he realized, oh my god, this movie might actually be good.
Now, how terrible would it be if we looked in the corner and found out we weren't live this whole time?
Oh.
That
physically hurts me, James.
Tiki, I gotta tell you
Hurts
something.
me.
On my end here, it's gray. It's not yellow like the little live button. It didn't record anything.
No. On my end, it's live.
I know, I'm kidding. I was just seeing if I could pull one over on them, folks. I'm kidding.
Funny trivia about.
Seriously, I was having technical difficulties all the way through that, just syncing it up. So if I was quiet, folks, I apologize. I'll try and be a lot more active for the ET podcast coming up.
Hopefully, that's a really good movie.
But real quick, you want to talk about the aftermath, or just kind of the big reaction to this movie?
Just a quick bit.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously, this movie
joked that he thought this was going to be a dentist thriller.
or as we joked about before, a spin-off of James Bond.
Yeah, you know, the prequel movie to why Jaws was so ticked off at Bond.
And also how he got his teeth.
Of course.
Okay, guys, I really have to go though, so we need to do a quick final thought.
Okay, man, but let me set the stage for it, if I may.
Yeah, well, hurry up, because
So, you know, in the end of the day, folks, just gonna round up my thoughts on this movie with a little bit of background. So, you know, Dreyfuss in the end, you know, Rich Dreyfuss, he went on a press tour saying, "I apologize for this movie." He thought he was convinced it was gonna be a disaster after shooting it, so he kept apologizing. And in the end, he was proven wrong. He went out there, he was thrilled, like he was like, "Yes, sir, it wasn't a flop." He literally went on air saying, "Guys, I apologize for this movie. It's not Steven Spielberg's fault. It's Universal's fault. It was a really rushed production. My performance was not good. I'm sorry. It's not Steven Spielberg's fault." They're getting top-notch guy protecting Spielberg, as is everyone else in the production. Because literally every day Spielberg was under a gun for firing. But his crew was some of the nicest guys. That they were really a lot of camaraderie. The best thing I can mention about this production was that they all worked in a cabin. Like, they rented a cabin. Spielberg was like, it was rooming with one of the writers, with all the writers pretty much, and the actors. It was the most collaborative experience in Spielberg's career, according to him. You know, but it just shows you this movie is so iconic. It's inspired filmmakers like Kevin Smith, like Bryan Singer. I'm just mentioning this, a few that they mentioned the thing there. But seriously, I mean, this movie again, it holds such an impact years and years later. Again, it's Psycho of the Sea. It's filmmaking 101. It's not just a monster movie. It's about kind of three guys bonding in a boat to take down a monster, and the monster is kind of the fear and paranoia of like what's out there when you don't see it. Like, what if the worst thing possible out there was out there? And it's famous, the night vision reactions to this movie. You know, you see like people all the time. They use that as like kind of a cheap marketing thing with horror movies now. Like, you see, the night vision reactions in the green, like people, they're freaking out. But Jaws was the first one to do that. It was the first blockbuster. It was huge. It was going strong for weeks, and I think it's hilarious. I mean, Sandy, I know you can attest to this with me. I'm afraid to go in the ocean.
Yeah.
I'm a pool guy. I'm a pool guy. Okay, I'm going to stick to the pool. I went to the beach once.
I want to go to Hawaii and swim in the beautiful oceans of Hawaii, and I don't give a fuck.
Well, I would
you're
do
fish
that,
food.
but I'd stay in the shallow ends.
Mm.
Me, I'm all pool.
I'll take
Okay,
the
I'm not
risk
afraid of
because,
water.
you know
I'm just.
me, I'm Tiki. I love Hawaii, but anyways.
I'm wearing a Hawaii shirt right now.
Well, there you go. There you go.
I'm all for the pool. But let me mention the last thing here. I mean, Spielberg literally, one of the famous images of Spielberg curled up in the mouth of the mechanical shark.
Yeah.
It embodies his experience for this movie. He was in the jaws of Jaws, and he's made a final joke, as one mentioned. He always joked the reason he doesn't go in the water it's a hilarious reason. I think is the most hysterical thing I've ever heard with this movie. It gets like a positive note to end all the turmoil and things. He jokes with John Milius, one of the guy, the dialogue guy, that after all they've been through, it says, "Well, come on, Steve, why don't you go in the water?" Because he doesn't go in the ocean. He says, "I can't go in there. I'm a marked man. They know I made Jaws."
Yeah.
It's like, again, he is a marked man because he made the ultimate. Like the sharks are waiting for him. They know they know too much. They know he's going to go.
Dragon. I have a funny story just to end the podcast on. But before we do, Sandy and Jacob, do you have any final thoughts?
One is love the movie.
This is a piece of history. It's a true marvel to the filmmaking industry. I absolutely love it. I always will. I always have. That's it.
Okay, Jacob.
Well, yeah, I can't really add much to it other than this is the second theatrical film that Spielberg ever made. Definitely the one that made him famous, jump-started a lot of people's careers, or made them even more famous, and pretty much changed the course of movie history and probably history in general.
He staked his claim as a filmmaker, and it paid off.
Yep, and it changed the course of movies possibly for the better. And it still holds up even after all these years.
Darn right.
My only final thought here is, like I said, I do think this is probably, if we're just going to be honest about it, probably a better movie than Jurassic Park. And you guys have no idea how much it pains me to say that. It's like I feel like I'm betraying my childhood. But no, seriously, I need to make up for lost time and just clinically study this movie, like I did with Jurassic Park. So, all right, and just to end this off, just to regale you guys with a funny story. So Steven Spielberg was walking down the beaches of Martha's Vineyard a couple years after the movie was released. And a mother comes up to him, a mother with a young boy, and she is just furious with him. She's furious with him. And the mother's like, You tell him it's safe to go in the ocean. You made that Jaws movie, right?
Yeah.
And Spielberg, he's honest, so he's like, I'm sorry, ma'am, I can't lie to him. It's, I wouldn't recommend you go with the ocean.
That's a smart director.
Oh, Spielberg.
Okay, folks. So, thank you for joining us on the first episode of Spielberg Month. Hopefully, next episode I'll be more talkative because hopefully my audio will be my video will be more synced up. But in the meantime, episode 2 is coming up. We'll be tackling E.T. the Extraterrestrial, doing a commentary on that. We're going to have my good friend from my web design class on it, hopefully. Crossing my fingers about that, so we'll see how that goes. In the meantime, that's a wrap for now, and it's time to ride our flying bikes out of here. At least until we give you more Spielberg commentaries to sink your teeth into. Next time on Spielberg Month.
Get you next time.
Bye. Bye.